Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission holding a meeting virtually on Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. Before we start, just some quick announcements this afternoon, I should say. Mary Jenkins will be seated for Arn Wells. Then Mr. Yeski will not be with us for the entire meeting, although I'm not, oh, there you are. Okay, Mr. Yeski will probably leave early, and once he leaves, Ms. Jones will be seated for him. Then we have timing or postponements or withdrawals on 7 applications, and I'm going to tell you what those are. First of all, postponed 33 Byram Shore Road. That is application 4 for a final coastal site plan to demolish the existing structure and build a new home at 33 Byram Shore. Then also postponed is SF1919 LLC at 9 Sabine Farm Road. That is to construct a new pool and pool house, etc. Then also postponed is Carolyn and David Hahn at 84 Cogniwag Road. That's applications 13 and 14. One of those is for a zoning map amendment, and the other one is for a preliminary subdivision. After that, we have 3 withdrawals. Those are applications 5, 6, and 7. 21 Vista Drive LLC for a final coastal subdivision, a final coastal site plan, and another final coastal site plan. The site plans are to construct new homes after the properties have been subdivided. And so with that, we'll begin with our first item, which is the Town of Greenwich, represented by the first selectman, for a final site plan to erect a statue of George Bush with related site work on a 2.7 acre property located at 290 Greenwich Avenue in the CGB and CGIO zones. Welcome, Mr. First Selectman, and welcome, John Conti. And if you would please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening to everyone. Thank you again for having us here. Before I turn it over to John, just a couple comments that we heard you loud and clear the last time, and are coming back with an amended proposal, just like we did with HDC. And we followed their advice, and we actually agreed with the location as the absolute best location for a statue for a veteran such as George Bush. We've looked at other ones, and even though I know there was a couple commissioners that maybe had a question about the location, but I took a step back and again went through this with people and came back overwhelmingly. This is the absolute best spot for it, but we amended it. I know some comments like Arn's last time about the plinth in the background, making it look more like a cemetery, and why couldn't we just have a statue like they have at the Bush Library in Houston? And we took that to heart, and it made sense if that was a sticking point. So to make it look less like it's a memorial plaza, and keeping the natural beauty there, we took that out. John has has more of the details, but certainly there are other comments that were made that we tried to incorporate into this new design, so it fits in with the other memorials that are on that site. But it's certainly not going to be overwhelming now, even though, again, with my personal opinion, I thought it was fine the last time. But I'm just one of many, and we all agreed that if that background was a major issue, that it would come out. And again, this is what they do they have at the Bush Presidential Library in Houston. But John has the other details, but certainly I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Dennis has his hand up. Mr. Yeski?
Let's wait for Mr. Conti to give us the details.
Sure. Yeah. Madam Chair, if it's all right with you, I can just give you a brief update of sort of some of the changes we made. Thanks, Mr. Camillo. As Mr. Camillo was saying, we have it in the same location here. Sort of, I would say that the bones of the design are very similar. The location is the same, distance from the sidewalk and its orientation, etc. We still have these three dogwoods flanking. We've updated again to show the trees, the existing tree that was here, the previous existing tree that was here removed, and I believe this one is slated to be removed as well. So mainly what we've done, as Mr. Camilla has said, is take off that rear plinth that was there before, and then we lowered the statue down as well, so that there's this single circular plinth here, and additionally removed that sort of seat wall that was around it, just to sort of reduce the amount of accoutrements here to the statue, and really, as some of the renderings show, not block the view to the Board of Ed, and allow that sort of view corridor, as well as I think one of the comments was when you're sort of at the Board of Ed or walking through the park setting here, to be able to see the statue from all angles without that plinth being in the back, without the sort of wall obstructing it. But we still have a sidewalk here around it, so you can sort of go up to and read some of the words that might be written there. Also, I think there might have been a concern about this is ADA compliant. It won't be graded too steeply. It's quite flat and it's wide enough for ADA compliance. And then it's graded in such a way that water was going to run off, and there's a slope here in the existing condition, but we'll sort of massage the grading around it, so this is like a level platform for the statue here. We still have lighting proposed, although we reduced it to 2 uplights on either side, just to give the statue some light at night. Other than that, I could show a couple more renderings here, but I think that's the spark notes on the changes. Happy to answer any questions you have, or give some further detail in any areas.
Mr. Yeski.
Yeah, I guess, Mr. Camillo, I heard what you said. I know you've been at this for a while. Hear us out. I think what was talked about yesterday was maybe a more prominent site for this, because I think a number of the commissioners feel like it's kind of like an alley there of memorials. And there was one commissioner, Mr. Macri, who suggested something closer to the Board of Ed. I can think of a couple other more prominent locations. Is that just ruled out entirely? I know we're looking at your site plan and we're making a judgment on this plan, but I guess the question is it really locked in? Would you open to suggestions or what?
Thanks, Dennis. Good to see you. We've looked at everything, and what Mr. Macri suggested was basically, to me, it's almost hiding the statue as an aside on a path near Town Hall. He has no connection to Town Hall. There's no connection at all. This is Veterans Plaza Park. It screams out for this statue to be here. Putting it in Bruce Park or Byron Park or Town Hall, it doesn't make sense. And putting it on a path where only people who are walking would see it. We're very proud that there was a president that was raised here and that flew 58 combat missions and was shot down at 18 years old. Went on to serve the country in so many different roles, and ended up obviously as president. But this is called Veterans Plaza Park. It's got memorials there already. We've incorporated everything that was said, but the site, HDC unanimously supported this site. They were the ones that said this should have been there in the first place. And, I agree. I think it's, after, listening to them, we thought this was the best spot too. They offered a couple other spots, but it just didn't make sense. But certainly here, it's not blocking anything, and it fits there. Again, it's for veterans. So
I get it. And
I would not want to hide them.
Well, I have a couple other suggestions, and at the risk of going on the record and being quoted, I remember George Bush in my 20s as ambassador of the United Nations, the director of the CIA, vice president beginning in 80, president in 88. Should have won 92, but there was a split ticket. He went on. I remember him visiting Greenwich several times after he left the presidency. So this is a unique individual. I think it deserves more prominent location. If you don't like in front of the Board of Ed, and I know we're here to vote on this site plan, I'm not losing sight of that. But, I would like to get a more prominent position. I'm hesitate to say it because we're here to vote on your site plan, but I just needed to know how open you might be to an alternative location, which is even more prominent. And we go from there. But I get it. I understand.
No, thanks, Dennis. I appreciate it. And I know you're very supportive, and we're all trying to get to yes, but we've looked at so many other places, and it just doesn't make sense putting them in other. I mean, this screams out, we think, for. And I tell you, I hear the good and the bad. So I get people, hundreds of emails a day, and the ones I've gotten on this, or people calling me or just stopping me on the road, or even when we were had the election early voting, I can't tell you how many people came up to me and said, "What's the delay?" And I said, "Well, we try to make sure we have lots of layers of approvals because we want to always get it right." And so, HTC was very helpful, and you guys have been very helpful. But again, Dennis, I just don't want to delay this anymore. We're going to risk losing this because we have a donor, and he's been pretty clear that it's not going to go on. It can't go on too much longer. He's been very, very patient with this. But we've looked at, believe me, we went over all the parks, and we love our parks. But again, this just made the most sense out of all of them. But certainly, I'm just speaking for myself, but we have looked.
Okay. No, I get it. And certainly we've been at this a while. We don't want to throw in other sites if that's not what you want on your site plan. So I got it. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mary?
you, Dennis.
Mary?
I'd like to defer to Mr. McRae because Mr. Camillo mentioned his suggestion. So I'd like Nick to go first, please.
Okie dokie, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Camillo, I think one of the things that we looked at, and actually the graphic in front of us can help a lot. The revisions that were proposed actually create a much smaller footprint on the site. As I was looking at this over the weekend, going through the briefing materials, it kind of dawned on me that this revision is approximately the same size, or actually slightly smaller, than the planted area in front of the front door of the Board of Education building, the Havemeyer building. And I thought to myself, that would be as a wonderful place, because it actually now gives it a real sense of place in the park, centered on the door, on the building, in a feature that's actually already there, that's highly visible for anybody walking in and around anywhere near the park, even down Greenwich Avenue. It's actually a vista right to the front door and the wonderful architecture of the Havemeyer building. No change in the design. It's actually slightly smaller than what's out there. And it's still in the park. It's still in the front yard of the Havemeyer building.
Nick, I'm losing a little bit. So if you're looking at the building, the front door there, you're talking about to the right of it?
No, if you look, looking right here, right where the cursor is on the screen. Okay, there's just a planted area. It's a planting bed, something that used to be a tree. I'm not too sure what's there now, but it seemed to me that location was ripe for this because, one, as proposed now, it's slightly smaller than what's out there, and it actually provides a real vista up the sidewalk to the front door, to the statue. It's still in the park, it's still in the front yard, that kind of thing, but it actually grounded it a little bit more into the park, into the architecture, into the hardscape, the sidewalks, where anybody walking up there and walking through the park in any location will pass by it, will be cognizant of it. I don't believe it would actually detract anything from the building itself. In fact, it may inform the building a little bit because it's actually part of that courtyard in front. But it's still visible. It's still in the park, and it actually physically will fit. I'm not too sure if you guys had considered that, but I think it's maybe something to think about.
Thank you. No, I had. I mean, it's very close to where it is. I have no problem with that at all. I hadn't thought of that. We're trying to keep it in line with the other ones. But if the commissioners like that spot better, it's still in the park, as you said. So I certainly wouldn't have any objection at all. And I don't know what John's thoughts are on that, but
Um, yeah, it's an interesting thought. It's an interesting thought. The only thing the only reason I hesitate a little bit is because I like to think this kind of thing through, and I don't know if there's sort of unintended consequences, so to speak, but because I haven't studied that area myself, but um, what Mr. Macri is saying does make sense. The only other thing I could think of, Mr. Camillo, is what this location sort of by the street out here is sort of far from the building. I don't know what um the future plans for the Board of Ed building are, and if this walkway in the front there is going to get revised or modified in some way.
Mr. Conte, I think that's one of the things, as we see it today, we have
Yeah.
a park with a proposal in front of us. To me, as I look at projects, I look at, okay, so what's being proposed today?
Yeah.
How does this play out for the next years? Statues. It's not years. It's it's decades. How what is this going to be like? To me, if I make a decision today on something, yes, keeping in mind what could happen, what could change later on. But usually, what I do also is take it with a grain of salt and say, if I put something here today, if something comes in 2 weeks from now, they'll have to deal with whatever happened today.
Sure.
And I would say that the statues in front of us at the moment, if for some reason something happens with the Havemeyer building in the next 2 years, the statue would be part of that site plan, and it would have to be, accommodated at that
Okay.
time.
I mean, if that's palatable to Mr. Camillo,
Yeah.
I think certainly it's
But I think if
it's a
you
possibility.
take a look at all of the monuments, the memorials, those things that are around town, and the bowling statue that's been there for how long? 150 years? Who knows?
Mhm. Right.
The memorial at the top of or at North Maple, Civil War Memorial, those kind of things, there for a very, very, very long time. So, great. What is the actual location? How does it work? Regarding actually, it's how it's cited with other things. But understanding, yeah, it could change. But right now, let's talk about what we have in front of us.
and that's a good point. And the RFP that we put out for the building, the task force, the two responses that the task force really, it's not pushing the building out at all. The building will stay where it is. It's going to be renovated, obviously, totally on the inside, maybe touched up a little bit on the outside, but they want to keep the historic character of that building. Both proposals did. So it would not go out at all. So I would agree with Nick that they would, it would be part of the site anyway as they're, redoing it when they do it at some point.
I think another factor actually that you can add in, I don't believe the facade of the Havemeyer building's lit. I think actually having this statue lit the way it's going to be actually may even give it a little bit of a bright spot at night in this park. And I think actually, passing by as, people do going out for the, on the town, that kind of thing, having this kind of lit up like that actually might be quite dramatic. I think it could be quite successful.
Understood. Okay.
That it, Mr. McRae?
Yeah, that's it.
Okie dokie. Mr. Lowe?
Yeah. I think honoring this town's son, I think I spoke to this yesterday, who was part of the greatest generation and dedicated his basically the majority of his life to public service and elected president of the United States. Seems like a great idea. I am a little concerned that we don't really know what the structure that we're being asked to approve really looks like. We're asked to approve lots of structures, but we typically have a very clear idea of what that given structure looks like.
Mr. Lowe, are you is it the sculpture or the bottom, the plinth?
The statue.
The statue.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I'm also in reading some background material and input from the public. I'm wondering if maybe somebody could comment on this, but I'm puzzled by the fact that whether or not this proposal has passed through the administrative and legal thresholds that allow us to pass judgment on it. And tangential to that, although perhaps out of our purview, I have trouble ignoring whether this statue's placement is consistent with the terms of the original Havenemeyer gift and the follow-on trust. And those questions, I think, probably are relatively easy to answer. I just personally am not, I don't have the answers.
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, I mean, that's the task force, the two of them I put together for the building, looked at all that. Basically, the trust was, there's a fund there to maintain the building as long as it's used for educational purposes. It didn't specify Board of Ed. But there's, I don't know, maybe 600,000 there, maybe even less than that now. That's it. But there were lawyers on that committee in the town, and certainly the law department's aware of it. So I have, we certainly get a confirmation on that, but I don't think it has anything to do with outside.
No other comments at this time for me. Mary, I guess is.
I mean, yeah, no.
I skipped over Mary. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Your hand was up first. Because her hand moves strangely. Question for you. So the last one you had was, I know that the trust, I think, no longer exists, right, Mr. Camillo, anyway?
There may be some money left in there, but it's not as much as people.
It had been spent. I think, for the maintenance. Okay, Mary.
Yes, the reason that I deferred to Nick was that I think his proposed location answers two of my concerns, which I've expressed before. The first one is the fact that there are already 3 memorials at that intersection. And again, I use the term Arlington Cemetery. Again, what I'm interested in doing is allowing the honor to President Bush, which I think is appropriate. But my concern is about the location and the effect that it has on the intersection. So moving it back, and in fact, just looking at the overall site, people crossing Greenwich Avenue at that point are basically going to be led up to the statue on that sidewalk. It's actually going to have more prominence than it would if it were closer to the street, because as you come across, the vista from the crosswalk is directly up that sidewalk to the statue. I think it's actually a superior location, not that I'm artistically inclined. My other concern was someone had very kindly sent us this afternoon the press coverage when the bowling statue was put up. And I think the bowling statue was clearly a memorial to dead soldiers from World War I. And then the veterans of foreign wars, again, I'm concerned that we not dilute the intent of the existing statues and locations by doing this. And I think, again, I like the idea. I think the modifications of design are great. And I actually think it's a better location to have that lead up of the sidewalk to that location. And that would satisfy me in terms of my concern about the congestion of monuments at the intersection, and also the dilution of the memorial to the dead of war that already exists there. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anything else from the commission? Okay, so Patrick, could you just clarify where we are? You were going to check with town council the emails that we received from the public about process and all of that. What exactly you've heard and what we would do? Could we make conditions, for example?
Sure. So
asked you.
we are clearly under our site plan authority here. So this is that there's no discussion about what the commission's abilities are. It's the same same responsibilities that you have with all other private property in town. There is no clear policy for statuary like this. I know other people have sent in the historical, clippings of other statues in the area. Those all predate our current regulations, our charter, everything else. And so there is not a obvious required path to talk to the Board of Selectmen, to talk to the Board of Education, and relationship to this property. The town is the property owner. The Board of Ed has the right to use the building, and when they have rights. I might have said yesterday at our work session as a tenant. They're a tenant with exceptional power. So it's more than just somebody who's working inside the building. And I don't see anything that the Board of Ed needs to be aware of if we're not affecting the educational mission of the school district. So
Okay.
that would be my only point. Again, there's not a lot of clarity on it right now, but again, we're here as a site plan application before the commission.
What about the Board of Selectmen? Yesterday, somebody said to us that the Board of Selectmen should have seen this, and I asked you if we could just make a condition that, at some level, at some point after this, that the Board of Selectmen does endorse it. Is that a necessary step or not?
So the only reference that I can find is in the public art policy, and in it does say that, or it indicates that a public art like this in this location would likely have had to come to that Public Arts Council, but also and receive Board of Selectmen approval. But it also says in that document that the first selectman has the right to amend those requirements. So again, it's
But
not
the
clear.
first selectman can amend the requirements.
Right, correct.
Okay, so we're good.
So
So
that
Fred can
is
make that decision.
right. And so
Okay.
certainly if Mr. Camillo wants to have the Board of Selectmen vote on it to
Okay.
stand on the policy, that's plausible. But again, it doesn't seem to be required because
Got it.
again, the policy is set up under his authority.
Okay. Got it. All right. John, I had a tree question for you.
Okay,
It's
let's
like
see if I can answer
all
it.
the big picture stuff and how I'm asking about trees. So I had been back with Fred with Greg Kramer about the trees, and I had been looking up trees that were historic to George Bush. And Greg said, no, those don't work because they are disease prone or insect prone. He said in his answer to me that he had been talking about, hold on, willow oaks, but you've got dogwoods. Did
Oh,
Greg make a mistake?
No, let me clarify. Can I bring up my rendering again? Am I sharing? Hey, the willow oaks were to replace the two existing noble trees that were there.
The Norway maple and the tree that died. So that if those big trees, if the Norway maple also goes, he would do
willow oaks.
The willow oaks.
Yes.
And then we do the dogwoods with the statue.
Well, yes, but I don't know. And Patrick, I'm not super clear on how this is going to go, but if we move it, are we moving it to in front of the building in that existing landscape area?
It sounds like that's what Mr. Camillo and Nick just agreed to.
Yeah. So then I'm not sure if we
you're not sure what happens with trees.
Yeah.
So what
I mean, certainly I'm an advocate for more trees, and flowering dogwoods are wonderful. And maybe
you're your father's
for
son.
Yeah, exactly.
We expect you to be your father's son.
Yeah.
But so what we would do is maybe say that since it's being moved, since it's being moved, you and the tree warden would work together to resolve how the landscaping would happen in this new location.
That sounds good.
Okay. Then, Fred, Mr. Camillo, the HDC had asked you when the statue is designed itself for you to go back to them. There were people on the commission who were interested in the commission seeing it, but I feel like it's kind of should be one or the other. Maybe I feel like otherwise you could get in the proverbial ping pong game. And the HDC's already asked for that. So I guess really I'm saying that and asking the commission, are you all okay with the HTC sign off on the statue itself?
As a condition, Madam Chair, is it what you're saying?
They've already conditioned it. When they approved it, they said, when you have the statue
Oh,
design
right.
itself,
Right.
you have to come back to us. So that's already done. And then someone said, well, we want to see it too. What do you guys want to do? Somebody said yesterday, we want to see it too. What do you guys want to do with that?
If location is changed, I don't need to see the statue. I would rely on the
You
HTC.
happy with the HTC? Okay, Nick?
I'm of the same opinion. It's statues up to them.
Okay. And they're looking at the historic district. Patrick, you have your hand up.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I forgot a major process point that the receipt of the gift.
Well, it has to go to the RTM.
Right.
Yeah, they know that.
I didn't mention that, so I just
Yeah. It has to, I think we all knew that. Nobody was talking about it because really we have nothing to do with that. Once we've approved the site plan, then they go to the RTM for the gift, but it's two different processes. It can't go forward unless they get the money for it.
Right. Correct.
Okay. All righty. So with that, does the commission have anything else to add? No. Okay. So just so the public knows before they start speaking. So where we are now is move the statue as suggested by Nick, trees to be be selected based on the new placement of the statue with sign off from Mr. Kramer. Design of the statue as originally intended, signed off by HTC. Patrick has talked to council again this afternoon and is not seeing it as necessary that the Board of Ed have any involvement in this since it is art and not you explained that, but you're not seeing that it needs to be involved. And we would leave it to Mr. Camillo whether or not he wants to vet the final with the Board of Selectmen because it's not clear that he's required to. Is that correct? Okay, that solves all the process things that were coming up in the last 24 hours. Okay, now, turning to the public for comment, please raise your virtual hand and I will call on you. We're going to limit you guys. I think there's going to be a fair number of people and it's a long night. So we're going to limit you to 2 minutes if that's okay. And anybody who wishes to speak, please raise your virtual hand. I'm not seeing any hands raised. One. This is bizarre. Okay. All righty. The first person is Lorraine Taylor. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Taylor.
Yes, good afternoon. Lorraine Taylor here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you to the Planning and Zoning Commission for permitting me to speak. First, I'd like to thank Tracy Kulikowski for her acknowledged receipt of my online form submittal that I prepared and submitted on December 5th, 2025. In that December 5th submission, I discussed the Greenwich Proclamation program that provides formal information about a person with connections to the town of Greenwich. I mentioned one example, the proclamation dated May 1st, 2009 on Colonel David Hackworth, who was a Greenwich resident, and it cited his military service. The proclamation signed by Peter Tessie, who was the first selectman at the time, cited Colonel Hackworth's awards and medals, which was very impressive. I think it's important that some type of written material is completed by a qualified military historian that describes and confirms the contributions of President George H.W. Bush in his military service roles, and also note his role as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. Based on my review of material connected to this project application, it's my understanding that his role as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces is being intentionally excluded from representations that will be connected to this statue and memorial. I think and I trust that all veterans of the U.S. military, as I am, believe that's wrong. Having written material is more proper than just comments made by First Selectman Fred Camillo, who stated during this meeting that George H.W. Bush had 58 combat missions. I don't recall hearing, maybe I'm wrong, Mr. Camillo stating today which military service medals that George H.W. Bush received during his combat service. I think it's important for all awards and medals to be made known to the public with supportive documentation that's made part of this project application. Thank you for considering my viewpoints.
Thank you very much, Ms. Taylor. Before you leave, Mr. Camillo, are you available to answer Ms. Taylor? Because I don't believe that you meant to exclude the president's service. Fred? Mr. Camillo? Okay. I didn't hear him like that, Ms. Taylor. Because I think
Sorry, I couldn't find the tab.
I was like, okay, he's not. Oh, hope he's okay. Okay, I'll just punt. So I didn't hear you say that you meant to exclude. I thought you were talking about his braveness and service. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Remember the original proposal had the plinth in the back, and the back of the plinth was going to have a lot of information. We still would like to have a little plaque there, and maybe in the front there, that doesn't stand out and doesn't make it, doesn't obstruct anything, because the whole point of this is his military service to go there. So yeah, that we would follow the directions of HDC at that point, if how big that little plaque could be. But we certainly want, I think there should be something there to acknowledge it. And the 58 combat missions I mentioned that Ms. Taylor referenced, that's pretty much documented that he did, and also being shot down at 18. So, and there's actually a video, strangely, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it actually shows the president as an 18-year-old being pulled out of the water on an aircraft carrier in the South Pacific, and you could tell it's him. He's really, really skinny, and I believe he was I believe he was the only one that survived that mission that he flew that day. So yeah, absolutely. We'd love to have something there, just to, as we originally wanted to do, but we'll follow the guidelines to make sure that we follow the directions of HTC when they want.
Perfect. Ms. Taylor, did you want to add something?
Yes, thank you. Just one quick comment to clarify. It's regarding President George H.W. Bush's role as Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces. That needs to be, I believe, appropriately part.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Yeah. And I looked it up. Distinguished Flying Cross, 3 air medals, the Presidential Unit Citation for flying the 58 missions. And he also got the Presidential Medal of Freedom from
correct. That's his service, but not his role as Commander-in-Chief. Thank you.
Got it. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Mr. Wold is next, followed by Amy Winberg. Go ahead, Mr. Wold, if that works for you. If not, I'll just, yep. And then Amy Winberg, I'm going to promote you now. Mr. Wold, if you want to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Go ahead.
Thank you. I just wonder, is this now an official application to move the statue up in front of the Board of Ed building?
Yeah, well, not exactly an application. The application it's not a new application. The application has been modified in the course of the meeting, as agreed to by the applicant and the commission, or as discussed. So it has been modified. The existing application has been modified, or will be when we move it.
And one issue that I would just like to point out, next to that location is the flagpole with the American flag in front of the Board of Ed, which doesn't have any light on it. So the flag comes down every day. And for example, on Veterans Day and Memorial Day, it is not flown because the building is closed.
So if we're putting conduits there, we could have the flag lit so it could stay up all night.
That's what I was hoping.
Okay, we will ask. It may not be possible, but we can just ask. As long as you're putting if you're putting electric conduits for the statue, can you add them to is it possible within the budget to add? It may be expensive or whatever, but we'll make the request. Because
Okay,
that's a
and
beautiful idea to have the flag lit next to the president.
yeah, I think that would have a purpose.
Great.
Secondly, there was a reference from First Selectman that the group had been looking at various locations in town, and I was just wondering, was that a First Selectman group, or was it a donor group, or
Well, let me
how
see. He
how
was
was it
having
looking at
trouble turning
properties?
on his mic before. There he is. Hi. Okay, Mr. Selectman, Mr. First Selectman, if you want to answer, Mr. Wold.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Did you have a group of people looking at who looked at the locations with you?
Oh, we've been discussing it. If you want to count, probably over a dozen people over time. But certainly, the person that the donor was in on and went over a lot of the possible locations. But we had people giving us ideas all over.
Well, as I recall, you also HDC did a site walk as well.
They
So
may have done
HDC
it.
did a site walk. We all went down individually. We didn't do a group site walk, but we've all been down to look at the site individually. So we evaluated it, if you will. But you knew we were going. And from what I understand, DPW has also, they're very familiar. They don't need to go. But so he has gotten input on the location from residents, the donor, HDC, and P&Z. And if you look at the public record, there's always a lot. Yesterday, I was asking if it could go in what we're about to designate as a historic park. Oh, you don't know about that yet, Fred. The Mill Pond Park is there's a proposal to make it a historic park, to designate it a historic property.
Oh, wow.
The one in Cos Cob. Yeah, today. It's the next item up.
Yeah, well,
so I was all,
very historic.
It is. I know. We've been through all the gravestones. Anything else, Mr. Wold?
No, that was basically, it was just a reference to a group, and I was wondering if there was an appointed group with veterans, anything like that. And the third and final question is, where does the name Veterans Plaza Park come from?
That was it was dedicated in 1927. No one remembers it today, but it was 1927. So we're coming up on the 100th anniversary. I got that from when Joe Siciliano when we first looked at the first location in front of what is now Restoration Hardware, the old post office. Joe did the research on that, and he said it because we were saying we wanted to give it a name, and he said, well, it already has a name. So that was the whole point, is maybe rededicate it when there's a statue there. But he found that it was dedicated in 1927.
Okay, so that included moving of the Arch Street 2 years ago, the application to move Arch Street onto the dedicated Veterans Plaza Park. Is that correct?
When you say moving Arch Street,
originally it was going to be by the triangle in front of Restoration Hardware. That's kind of how we talk about it. Is that what you mean, Mr. Wold?
And then there was the talk about redoing Greenwich Avenue and Arch Street, where
when we were going to do the bump outs, yeah.
And then moving Arch Street onto the front lawn of the Board of Ed. So that was dedicated Veterans Plaza Park.
Well,
land.
but that's a whole different kettle of fish.
No, just clarification. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
That was all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, that's a completely separate matter. Okay, Ms. Winberg, you're on. You're the last speaker. Nobody else has their hand up.
I'm sorry, I accidentally pushed the button.
And then you didn't, then you were stuck, and we were waiting for you to say something important. Yes. Okay, thank you, ma'am. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Okay. Applicants, including the first selectman or commission, does anybody want to add anything at this time?
No, thank you for your guidance as always, and Mr. McRae's suggestion. I think that's we thought we had a spot the first time with HDC, and they really vetted it like you guys have done and came up with a different location, and tonight it looks like that's happened again. So we're just grateful. So thank you.
That's great. Okay. So does anybody object to closing this application at this time? Nick, I need to see you. Nick?
Yeah, I'm
There he
here.
is.
Not going anywhere.
Okay. Okay. Any objections to closing this application at this time?
No.
All right, this application is hereby closed and we are required to make a decision on it. Seated on this application are Alban, McRae, Lowe, Yeski,
Yeski?
and Jenkins for Wells.
Yes.
My pen doesn't want to write. And Mr. Secretary, gonna-
290 Greenwich Avenue, PLPZ 2025-324, final site plan. Applicant seeking approval to erect a statue of the 41st President, George H.W. Bush, with related site work on a 2.7 acre property at the Havermeyer Building located in the CGB and CGIO zones. The proposal includes the installation of statue plinth, lighting, and landscaping. The commission finds that zoning issue comments dated 11/10/25 requested a survey indicating total area of the site and coverage computations. DPW drainage issue comments dated 9/9/25 indicating approved for zoning building permit. DPW traffic issue comments dated 8/21/25 indicating no comment. The tree warden issued comments dated 9/25/25 indicating town landscape plans for post project installation. The HDC issued minutes dated 7/28/25 endorsing the project, and the sewer division issued a memo dated 9/8/25 indicating no comments. Therefore, a motion to approve the site plan noting the following.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
The HGC motion did have a comment, which was to return to them with the final design.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Well, no, but you said no comments. The HGC motion
It was just endorse the project, so we'll get into
endorsed
that.
the project with the request that it return to them with a final design. Go ahead.
Okay. Motion to approve the site plan noting the following. Did we want the Board of Selectmen to re-endorse this?
I think what we said was that we would leave it to the first selectman's discretion because that is what the public art policy says, that it is to the discretion of the first selectman.
Okay.
So the first selectman at his discretion will obtain endorsement from the Board of Selectmen, and that leaves him the latitude.
Okay. Return to the Historic District Commission. And anybody else you want to add to that? For
I
review of the
think,
final statute
When
design?
we did the vetting, everybody felt that the HDC was sufficient. We
Okay.
asked everybody and everybody said the HDC was sufficient. That's who requested it. And the
Okay.
HDC can always get an expert if they have a doubt.
Final location to be at the existing circular planted area at the front of the door of the Havermeyer building. The applicant is to explore the opportunity to provide lighting to the flagpole to the south of the revised location. And the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
And then just to add to that, the tree selection shall be for the new look. If the tree and planting selection must be modified for the new location, applicant is to agree these changes with P&Z staff and the tree warden. Because it's his property, but P&Z might have some comments, but basically it's going to be the tree warden because it's public property. Mr. Lowe, did you want to add something?
I should wait until Mr. McRae is finished.
He was done.
Oh,
But
do we need to provide greater specificity to this new location? So I don't know whether, and I mean that, I don't know whether we need to.
As an exact location or detail
Yeah.
on design?
I think what we could do is
Okay.
put it into the letter. When we send the decision letter to the first selectman, what we can do is flesh it out a little bit in the letter. So here we're just saying it's, over back by the door, but then we can be more specific in the letter. Everybody knows where we mean, and then we can be more specific. It's not like we're changing the decision.
Yeah, okay, I just didn't know
That
whether
works.
this is
Okay.
required at this point to.
All right. So there were 3 modifications to the plan as proposed. The first modification was to move the statue, which will be fleshed out in the decision letter. The second one is to explore whether the new conduits to light the statue can be extended to light the flag, and any changes in the landscaping proposed be agreed with the tree warden and planning and zoning staff as appropriate. And those are the three modifications I've got. Anything else? Nope. Okay.
Second.
For the application as amended, Mr. McRae, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
Mr. Yeski,
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins.
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. And congratulations to you both. It's been a long road. Best wishes. Do invite P and Z for the ribbon cutting, please. Nobody ever invites us to ribbon cuttings, okay? Nobody.
Done.
We didn't get invited to the Eastern Greenwich Civic Center ribbon cutting. Our
We will make
feelings
sure that
get
doesn't happen
hurt.
again.
So we want you to invite us because everybody worked so hard on this. We'll tell HDC they have to come too. All right. Thank you
Thank you
both.
all
Thank
very
you.
much.
Congratulations.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
everyone.
All right.
Yeah.
We go to our next item. It's a discussion item, and it's the Historic District Commission and Historic Properties of Greenwich. Let me get Mr. Malillo into the meeting. I think he might be presenting.
Madam Chair, I'm going to be, I'll listen, but I can't be on
Yeah,
video.
yeah, that's fine. So
Okay.
Ms. Jones, you're Mr. Yeski now. I know your hair's not as good, but it's close.
No, it's not. know what
Okay.
Mrs. Yeski would say about that change, but
Okay, hello, Mr. Malillo. Do you have anyone who's presenting with you, or are you solo?
Good evening. I believe Ann Young is on the line, but
I see her. I see her.
yeah.
I'm bringing her in.
By the,
Okay.
by the way, I think her hair looks wonderful. I wish I could grow it that long, but it wouldn't be acceptable.
All right. So our next item, it's good we don't have the court reporter here. Our next item is the Historic District Commission and Historic Properties of Greenwich to review the report from the Historic District Commission and provide comments and recommendations to designate Coscob Mill Pond Park as a local historic property pursuant to the town charter and the provisions of the Connecticut General Statutes. As mentioned to you guys yesterday at the briefing, and no, Madam Young, I did not need to be reminded. We are here to comment on the report itself. And from there, the decision on this goes to the RTM. So with that, what do you guys want to do? Do you guys, we've all read the report. We felt bad for the poor woman traveling to Boston by
Miss Gardner,
stagecoach.
yes,
Ms. Gardner was what, 21 years old?
21 or 26, I can't remember. In their 20s.
In her 20s, and she was going on a trip to Boston, and she got sick in Greenwich. Okay.
Madam Chair,
So,
what's expected of us? Just an
So
endorsement, not an endorsement?
Yeah,
so on and so
so
forth?
all we have to do is endorse the report that has been produced by the HDC and Historic Properties of Greenwich, and their recommendation that this be, I'll do it for you, and that it be designated, that the property be designated as a local historic. So we just say, hey, great report, move along,
Done.
basically.
Great. Moving on.
Okay. The actual only question I had, Patrick, so you guys, the one thing that struck me as a zoning person reading the wonderful narrative is there was lack of clarity about who has control over the mill pond itself. And that when you guys put that part in about filling it in and creating a parking lot, I definitely got very uneasy that anybody had ever talked about that. As what we do know, and we would suggest that it be a finding from us regarding your report, that below the 5.5 foot elevation, the mill pond, any property that is below elevation of 5.5 feet is under the jurisdiction of DEEP. Now that applies to the water part, not to your proposal, but we just want to make it clear when the RTM reviews this that they have jurisdiction on the park, but no ideas about developing the Mill Pond can issue from having a historic park in the future. Mill Pond completely under the jurisdiction. The water itself, we believe to be under the jurisdiction. So we'll just make the point that it can't be filled in to make a parking lot, which I don't think you guys would support anyway.
I highly doubt that HDC would support that as appropriate. Yeah.
Right. So that was just reading the history. There were a time there, the fact that somebody stuck tombstones into the mill pond as riprap, that was the other thing that was startling. Deep would not allow that either.
Yeah,
So-
there was that, and then the original parcel laid out in 1725 went across the street of what's today Strickland Road. So it's a mess, and we're just trying to save what's left of it.
What's left? Well, all we were saying, the things I was reading about what happened to the mill pond concerned me. The fact that people were using gravestones as riprap
Yeah,
to line the walls was,
common practice back then. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you talk to the old timers and they'll tell you where people dump their garbage, and that's where we find we need to remediate 50 years later.
Mhm.
So, okay, that's all I've got. What else do people have other than great job, thorough report? Mary?
Yeah, I was just about to say, great job, thorough report. I loved all of the detail and the fact that I had a sense of what that area was like for the last 200 plus years. It was just amazing. And also the reference to the Anya Seton book, which I hadn't thought about for 50 years. That was fascinating. But thank you. It was a great read and very helpful.
Anybody else? Okay, so I hereby we don't have to close this because, oh, I'm so sorry. We can take public comment, and
Public
we're
comment?
we're not required to, but I would love to hear from people. Ms. Taylor, if you would proceed.
Yes, good afternoon, Laureen Taylor. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Albin and the board for permitting me to speak. I wasn't planning to speak about this particular project. I came in on the Zoom regarding the George H.W. Bush statue and monument. But when I see both Ann Young and Andrew Melillo, I'd like to make a comment that I support Ann Young because she's been professional with her interactions to me on matters of BARM history and research that I perform. But with regard to Andrew Melillo, I'm concerned about that. And I'm just curious with regard to his report that all these comments of praise were made about. I didn't get to read it, but are Andrew Melillo's credentials made part of any report? It's my understanding he's not a professional credentialed person with his history, and he's not a genealogist. And I'm also curious to know if he has any kind of ancestry relation to the parties that are discussed in this report and the site. Thank you.
Ma'am, for this purpose, Ann Young is the person with the professional credentials, and Mr. Melillo is here in his role as supporting the HDC administratively. So
thanks for the
he's
clarification.
He's the administrative person for the HDC, and Ann Young is our expert. And you're going to be sad to know that she's actually not in Greenwich anymore, but she hasn't forgotten us, and she comes back and helps us. But she has abandoned us and moved to warmer climates, just like you, Miss Taylor.
Yes, but I'm still connected to my Greenwich BARM
so
real estate
is
fund.
Ms. Young. So she's stayed connected, and she helps us out whenever we're doing one of these projects.
I appreciate
she's
that.
still our expert and helps us out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak on this? I'm not seeing anybody else. Okay, so I'm just going to wing this. The commission, the Planning and Zoning Commission, hereby endorses the report produced by the Historic District Commission and Historic Properties of Greenwich, and encourages the designation of Cos Cob Mill Pond Park as a local historic property. In so doing, the commission finds would like to note that the mill pond itself, below the 5.5 foot elevation line, is under the jurisdiction of the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection of the state, but that the park itself is under the town's ownership and jurisdiction. Mary, go ahead.
I was just going to suggest if, in my case, enthusiastically endorses the study.
Well, yes, but you know, a whole lot of people are going to read this at the RTM. So,
All right, understood, Madam Chair.
We can say enthusiastic. What the heck? We can be enthusiastic sometimes, can't we?
Are we ever anything else?
Okay, so that is our finding. Could I have a second?
Second.
All righty, and we don't have to vote on it, but it would be good if you all still would. McRae,
Aye.
Lowe,
Aye.
Jenkins,
Aye.
and Jones.
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, our endorsement of your report and your proposal passes 5-0. And there you are. Thank you for all the good work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Pleasure to see you both.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And you saw, for your record, when you go to the RTM, the Preservation Trust also supported you.
Yes, I saw that. Thank
They
you.
copied you on it. So you've got additional, when you go to land use, I'm hoping in January or March, you'll have also that they have supported your proposal.
Well, just to sort of spread the word, I would like everyone to know that at some point, the HDC will have a public meeting that will certainly be advertised through the Town of Greenwich website as well as Greenwich Time, announcing that meeting where the public can either attend either in person or send in any type of written recommendation to the final. So
Is that
there is another opportunity before the RTM.
And they're required to do that under state statute, even though we've already done it?
P&Z has already done it, but yes, the state statute does allow for that, just to ensure
All right.
in case you miss something.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, boss. Good luck.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you at the RTM.
Bye.
Oh, and here's Mr. O'Donnell right on time. Application number 3, Newfield Properties for a final LLC for a final site plan to designate the property as a set-aside development by restricting 1 unit in the existing 3-family dwelling pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 830G and to make the associated improvements on a property located at 741 Hamilton Avenue in the R6 zone. This property is undersized at 7,375 square feet, where 7,500 would normally be required. All righty, Mr. O'Donnell.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the commission. For purposes of the record, Casey O'Donnell on behalf of the applicant Newfield Properties 3 LLC. I can do a brief overview, but I was privileged to watch the briefing, and this commission always does its homework. So I'm happy to just kind of step through the highlight of the comments that you discussed during the briefing.
Sure, that would be fabulous. You know, we love it when people offer to do that. I'm just opening yours up so I can follow along. Go ahead.
Thank you. At some point, I may ask, I can either put a picture or Google Maps up, or we can look together. But the first comment that I had in my notes was the comment of ground floor versus the basement. So this is not a basement under the building zoning regulations of the town of Greenwich. And if you have an opportunity to look at some of the photos, I think your grade plane analysis, informal, will equate mine. So on 3 sides of this is at ground level. It's just the front there. Hamilton Avenue, the topography, the natural overall topography falls off. So this is a walkout unit in the back. There's no window wells. And in fact, there is a basement under the ground floor unit, which is a 10 by 10 cellar, which, you know, may have been a wine cellar under the prior many owners ago. That is unfinished, has no utilities, and is currently not in use. So this is would be 3-story structure. This would be the first floor under the zoning regulations. Noting this is the largest unit by square footage. In addition, this is one of 2 units in the house that have a fireplace. And so it was not the applicant's request to use the basement. That's going to remain out of use. But it is this applicant's request to designate this as the set-aside unit, looking at the totality of the amenities in all 3 units in the building. As it relates to this commission overruling the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals, of course, I agree that's not appropriate, not possible. And of course, that's not what this commission is charged with as it relates to this application. The commission has to decide, are there issues here that are necessary to protect the public interest in health and safety? So there's no precedential value. There's no overruling any portion of our zoning regulations. Affordable housing is embracing that process. And again, we're grateful for the opportunity to present this to this commission. As it relates to the fire marshal's comments.
Hold on
Yes.
just a second before you go to that. Mary, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, Mr. O'Donnell, I appreciate the fact that 830G is useful because we do want to increase affordable housing in Greenwich. But the suggestion that we can ignore an existing variance that's been in place for more than 20 years by using 830G to permit a 3rd unit where the term of the variance basically requires the property to be returned to 2 units, not 3. I don't see any authority under 830G or otherwise that gives us the opportunity to say, we are going to ignore a variance that attaches to the property. So I appreciate the intent of adding an affordable unit to this property, but you have a variance that says the one you have is not legal. So to the extent that there is an issue here, we do not have the authority to override an existing variance. And it seems to me that saying we're using 830G is a nice answer, but it does not address the authority issue. We don't have the ability to ignore an applicable variance that specifically actually addresses the very issue that you're attempting to raise under 830G. And I don't know what your answer is to that. I'm kind of surprised that you're willing to just kind of gloss over it and say, well, never mind, it's 830G and you have 830G. The variance still applies. And you're basically saying ignore it because you, P and Z, are going to allow 3 units when the ZBA has basically said from 2002, you can't have 3 units on this property. So I think, I don't see you answering the issue by saying, and the next thing is 830G.
Okay, Mary, thank you for making that clear to me. And I did not mean to treat it glibly or not give it the attention it deserves.
Thank you.
Accepting your position arguendo, if I were to demolish the building here and then come in with a 9-unit structure, would you have the same qualms as it relates to the variance?
I don't think I'm in a position to answer a hypothetical.
And I don't.
Well, the variance runs with the land.
I'm addressing the existing situation and the existing variance.
Yeah.
And it's not my intention to pressure you, but that's what regrettably, they train lawyers to do these types of analysis, whether you say slippery slope.
Well, don't forget that she's also an attorney.
And so, again, I just want to tell, there's no intent to corner you. That's not what I'm trying to do here. As an attorney, I'm sure you know there's a school of thought that says a variance cannot be conditioned, and any such condition would be void ab initio of the variance. I don't need to address that here. The zoning regulations, I don't believe that the intent of the applicant or of 830G is to disregard zoning regulations. But that's a perspective that exists, is to say, right now, when we're looking at 830G, there's a number of zoning problems with this application. It's not a permitted use in the zone. 3-family uses are not permitted. Was it 16 or 17? We omitted them. If it were permitted under the code, we would be 3 parking spaces deficient.
Well,
the
you're
lot-
also, we didn't allow them on the smaller lot. So even,
correct. We would,
even just going back, even in 27, even before 2017, you would not have been able to put 3 on a 7,300 square foot lot because you needed to have 4,300.
4,200 square feet.
right, 12,600. And again, what's kind of the boards and commissions in the town of Greenwich have long held the position that every piece of property is unique, and so precedential value is limited. That's a sort of a real estate. It's one of the few areas where court will enforce specific performance because that belief that each property is unique. This happens to be a very unique story. I appreciate your perspective. I regret that I do not share it. I can talk more about it, but I don't think an analysis of the zoning regulations is always appropriate in 830G. The variance.
No, but the variance is in a different place. So here would be my suggestion. Patrick, I think I can think of at least one person that could give us an opinion on this, because this is a very narrow issue regarding the interface of 830G and variances on a property with existing variances. My inclination is that an 830G overrides existing zoning, but I have the great blessing of not being an attorney, so I would rather just get an opinion.
Okay, we've engaged town council to start that. So
I would just rather get an opinion on this, and I mean, if he were available, well, I don't want to give names, but I can think of a few people who have in the state who have the depth on 830G that this requires, and the case law behind them on 830G, because it's really just a question of what's the scope of 830G relative to zoning actions that have been previously taken by the town. As I see it. Mary, you're
I don't want to stop. I don't want to delay Mr. O'Donnell's presentation any further, but my point being particularly that the very nature of this application is the decision of the ZBA. If it were something other, I could probably see that 830G can be applied certainly to modify zoning regulations to the extent it adds affordable housing. But the problem is exactly that it matches your variance. You're asking for 3 units when the variance says you cannot have 3. You can only have 2. So it's too much of a match. And I think I've made my point, Mr. O'Donnell. I appreciate your professional response to it, but I am not yet satisfied, and I would appreciate a legal opinion.
Yeah, and it's a very narrow interpretation. Let's go to the fire thing.
And just to say thank you, and we'll give this commission whatever time it needs to obtain that opinion.
Well, we don't have the whole universe, because this is a must close on 1/24. So we have 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
We have time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So let's go fire.
Fire marshal, just to start with, is the building is and has been under the control of the Greenwich Fire Marshal. There's no outstanding requests from the Greenwich Fire Marshal. My client has owned this building since October 2020. Any request has been immediately assessed, so it's up to snuff. There is nothing that the fire marshal has asked for by way of his role as Greenwich Fire Marshal as it relates to this property. Moving from there forward, the applicant does not object to these comments, has no objection in terms of evaluating exterior wall construction, evaluating protecting openings, or evaluating sprinklers, although those would be relatively uncommon at this scope of development. And the applicant will agree as a condition of this approval to continue to protect the existing defensible space. There'll be no additional structures proposed in proximity to the building, no substantial plantings proposed in the direct proximity of the building to make sure we continue to afford the existing access. That driveway easement area, we'll talk about parking, that's painted on the ground. We can see it says no parking. That's an easement area right of way for travel, so cars are not permitted to park there.
Okay. You're still gonna have to get their sign off, Nick.
Yes.
Nick.
Mr. O'Donnell, let's delve right into real quick parking. The applicant, your client, does they have any relationship to the condominium next door or the two-family next door that shares the parking lot?
The only relationship is that of good neighbor and cross beneficiary of the driveway easement.
And there is the driveway easement.
There's a driveway easement that's for traveling across the driveway. There's no shared parking between the properties. So if you were looking at a Google image, you'll see a parking space in direct proximity to the rear unit, the unit away from the street. That unit, that space, the white line is right on the property line, and that belongs to the condo. And then the remaining spaces belong to the association. The travel portion of the driveway that's too narrow for parking and marked against parking, that's the right of way.
So the adjacent two-family has 4 cars, 2 in a garage and 2 outside. Is that what you're saying?
The adjacent 4-family, I was actually privileged to.
It's 4-family.
I'm sorry, the adjacent 2-family,
okay.
Which I was privileged to inspect for parking when it got the CO in 2005 or so, 2006, was approved for zoning purposes that was the era of 5 spaces for 2 units with 3 bedrooms apiece. So there is 2 garage spaces. There were 2 spaces counted immediately outside of the garage. So car with a car in. So each unit starts with 2 spaces. And the 5th space, as I recall, was the one that was immediately in front of that condo unit.
At the street. At the street.
To the rear is my recollection. We would have to go to GIS maps and see when the street spot appeared.
Okay, so the 5 spaces that are indicated on the site plan provided, the one that's in color, are dedicated only for your client's residence.
Correct.
Okay. Was the shared driveway easement provided to staff?
Yes.
Okay, great. Fire marshal. So the fire marshal is actually, and life safety is the thing here. He's concerned about actually another unit. When you get into 3 units, as you know, it gets a little bit more tricky for the fire marshal in terms of fire separation, floor to floor, wall to wall. I understand his concern about actually because the property is right on the property line.
3.26 feet, Nick.
That's right on the property line, so that works.
Yes, sir.
So my concern is looking at your plan from before and after, proposed in the existing. There seems to be an awful lot that's actually changing in an interesting way, but really not defined. I see walls coming down, walls going up. But what I'm concerned about is establishing on a plan those issues that the fire marshal actually are looking for to make sure that that's being incorporated. Big picture to me right now, I'm seeing actually that the windows in the proposed bedrooms are very small. I don't think I have any assurance from the plans and then specifically looking at photographs of the building that they're large enough to meet code for a bedroom. I also see that actually a lot of the mechanical spaces as existing that serve the whole structure are being moved. Is everything, all of the mechanical systems for the site being moved into that one under the porch?
I think they're currently located there, and I don't know if the 3rd floor or attic story, whatever we want to describe it as, I don't know if their mechanicals are upstairs or not. The applicant has provided this architectural plan for the purposes of this application. By adding the 2 bedrooms to the ground level, that will trigger a full building permit process, right?
Yes.
So we're not saying we're just going to keep what was there in 1955. We're going to make improvements, and then we're going to go through with the commercial plan examiner for each one of these things. And I agree, if approved by this commission, we will have to develop substantially more detailed plans. There are existing window openings. It would be 5.7 square feet. You and I know. I believe if you have an at-grade window, it may go down to 5 feet, square feet, clear opening. And so there has to be that whole process will be vetted by way of approval of this application. I know in prior applications, they had come in and said, we're just going to leave it as is. It is what it is. It's already approved. And what we're suggesting is something a little different. And hopefully that will assuage any concerns as it relates to life safety, because we're going to be before Mr. Robinson and Mr. Dawson in the building permit process.
Right. Yeah, but that application would be post any decision we make.
Correct.
I think
As it
actually
would
this
with-
commission actually is concerned with actually life safety and to make sure actually that the units as being modified would meet code.
Correct.
If I'm saying yes or no today, you run off to the commercial plan examiner and he's looking at stuff and says, wait a minute, this doesn't meet code. You have my whatever decision it was, and then, here we are. I would appreciate if we could actually take a look at a lot of this stuff prior to any kind of decision the commission makes. So we're sure that actually this unit as being proposed is up to snuff for egress codes, fire codes, so on and so forth. I think it would actually give a better level of comfort on somebody living in this lower unit. Or give us a better level of comfort knowing that somebody's going to be living in this unit.
I think I appreciate your perspective, and I think with many of the approvals that this commission makes, the finer details of building code compliance are developed during the permit process. That's it. It's difficult to invest that degree of effort and resources prior to having an approval. I think that's been the long run here. If there's site plan issues, those are important conceptually, yes. This is a unit that's at grade. All the windows are available to step in and step out of. There has to be, we can add details that indicate fire separation or that egress windows will be there, but the code changes.
Yeah, I understand, Mr.
tomorrow,
O'Donnell.
Nick, we would have to do a new set of plans.
Got it. Okay, just laying out the facts here.
But I think the answer to Mr. O'Donnell is when we do 830 Gs, we want to be assured on the health and safety. And it is in great part, one of the reasons that you're here before us is when you have a unit that does not have approval as habitable, we really, really want to see that the affordable unit is safe for the affordable tenant. And that's what Nick is saying to you.
Madam Chair, we talked about a unit a few years back in the Chickahominy neighborhood that was similar to this. And it was a questionable lower unit. I don't remember where we went with that, but I think we had the same kind of concerns.
Well, I give you simpler things like the 830G that we heavily conditioned recently because of not having sewer necessarily a guaranteed sewer capacity or other things like that. I mean, so you don't have to do the full flesh out, but you got to get to the point where fire can say to you, we think the people can live there safely. That's what we're asking you for on an 830G, that there is no risk to life and limb for the affordable tenant.
Okay, I'm going to work on that.
Yeah, and so do what you can with that. That's what we get from other people. That's what we get. And we ask for it. And what we're looking for is an assurance that those folks who are coming in into affordable unit, that there is no health and safety issue for them. Okay.
Thank you.
And Nick, I think that addresses the same, I mean, we've done this other times in other ways. I wanted to raise with you, as long as we're talking about the ground floor, on the existing ground floor plan on sheet A100, you have a bedroom that is next to the laundry room, which has bathroom fixtures in it. I think it should be labeled bathroom.
I agree, Madam Chair. I
Yeah,
have
so
not
just-
used a bathroom as a bedroom in some years.
Yeah, well, yes,
We'll
that was
fix it.
college. That was college. Okay. So, yes, so just fix it. We got a comment from someone who was concerned about that. Okay, so let me, those were the key concerns, you know, because you're doing an 830G, we're mainly focused on health and safety. Any other concerns that would be significant enough to exceed the town's need for affordable housing? And yes, we all know how to say that in our sleep. Sewer wants to sign off. Basically, I think DPW, had you originally done a drainage exemption? Was that their comment?
There's more than one element of amnesty here.
Yeah, but you don't get a drainage exemption when you've just
We're
redone.
not, it's
Yeah,
a new,
okay.
it's a full,
Yeah.
with the expanded parking,
Okay.
it's gonna be a full pole drainage and it works for drainage. And Juan had some tweaks, but he indicated, if I understood his memo correctly, that
Yeah.
he was okay.
He was okay with
selling-
it to going to permit. Just being clear, we're gonna have to find that we're okay with the spaces. I would say that at this point, the parking is at least has been made less non-conforming, plus it's an 830G, so to the extent that it's less non-conforming. Anything else from the commission? Any comments from the public on this application at 241 Hamilton Avenue? Seeing no comments from the public, we're going to continue this application to allow couple of things. You had the last thing that you said there is an easement on the driveway. Somewhere in the documents it says nobody could find it. So if you could just make sure that we get that driveway easement. Sorry, I had my notes there from yesterday. So the driveway easement, some kind of satisfaction from the fire department, if you would work with them. I think Mr. Dawson will work with you. And the legal interpretation of 830G is up to us. And did I leave anything out?
We preserve the tree on site, Madam Chair.
That's great. And also sewer, you did the acknowledgement letter, as I remember.
Correct.
Okay, so you're set. Okay, so we'll see you when you come back, and hopefully the first January meeting.
That would be great, Pat. I'll get you an extension tonight.
But give him to the max in case we're slammed on the first January meeting.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Donnell.
Thank you.
All right, now taking a huge leap into space. We now go to the public hearing. Are we ready for the public hearing, Mr. Basili? Hi, Mr. Basili.
Hello.
Hello.
Not ready, but I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so we're now going to the public hearing, and Mr. Hegney's in the meeting. Taco Project LLC for a final site plan and special permit to convert an existing first floor retail space of 1440 square feet to a 20-seat restaurant with kitchen prep and storage area on a 2,448 square foot property located at 91 Railroad Avenue in the CGBR zone. And with that, Mr. Hegney, I saw you at the briefing yesterday, so if you want to jump in and go to questions, feel free.
Sure. As you indicated, Madam Chair, this is a 20-seat restaurant in a 1,440 square foot store, which was the cigar and stationery store for many years at 91 Railroad Avenue. We originally submitted with 22 seats, but to provide for better circulation within the dining area, we reduced that to 20. So the math, I guess I didn't spell it out. as well as I had wanted to in the letter I sent over yesterday. The math is this. The space that's there is 1,440 square feet. That you multiply that, since that's gross square footage, times 75%, which gives you 1,080. And then you divide that by 150 to show that the space, no matter how it's used in a retail setting, requires 7.2 parking spaces.
Oh, we got that part.
Oh, okay. So then on the seats, we take the 20 seats, we divide it by 3, that gets to 6.6. You multiply that by 1.2 and you get to 8.
We got that part too.
Okay. And we also have a parking space in the rear of the building.
Which is not
that-
new. That
No,
was
it's
our
not
question.
not a new space, but not associated with it. We had to include that as part of the lease that we signed for the space itself. So I specifically had the landlord include one parking space in the lease
In the new
for
lease.
the store, in the new lease,
Okay.
so
And
that is
that's an
included.
incremental space that you never had before.
Correct. That's correct.
Okay. That's
So
all we
that
were at.
brings us
That
to
was
8.2 spaces, which is what we need to have the 20 seats. And
no,
so
because
that's
you don't have the
that's the math.
7, right?
No, that's what would be associated with any use in this space.
Right. So you have an existing nonconformity of
Mhm.
not having 7 spaces, but
Correct.
you are not making that nonconformity worse because you've gotten this space for your extra use.
Correct.
Okay.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Madam
Next
Chair.
time I'll write your thing for you. How much you charge an hour?
Not as much as your counsel is worth, Madam Chair.
No, I don't think All right.
We'll
Okay. So
talk
we
about
got
that at another time.
Now, the
The
second
other thing I
go
wanted to
ahead.
talk about was the refuse containers.
Yeah.
They have them in the back now. They're shared by others, other stores and restaurants back there.
Mhm.
I went down there this morning and looked. It's in an alley off Greenwich Avenue behind where the M&T Bank building is.
Mhm.
I don't think it meets the requirement of being in the public view. However, I talked to my client about this, and we don't want a screen or no screen to stand in the way of this getting approved.
No, but here's another way to look at it. If you're going to have new signage because you're a new use, and when you get the new
Yes.
signage, you're going to have the signage, maybe an awning, whatever. You got to go to ARC. And
Correct.
when you go to ARC, you're going to have to give them some kind of visuals. One of the issues that staff was having is they've got no site plan, they've got no visuals. You're going to have to do them anyway because you're eventually going to have to go to ARC. So it's not like we're asking you to spend more money. Technically, a site plan is not required for us, but you're going to have to do some of this anyway for ARC. Why not make staff stay and provide to them that it's not visible as far as you're concerned. It's the joint area. It's not changing. And then when you get to ARC, we'll remind staff to make sure that they've reviewed that because all of that, your rubbish enclosure, all of that would be looked at by then.
That's fine. We would be doing that anyway, as you
You'd be
indicated.
doing, so we're not asking you to make more work, but what I would like you to do is to give us that site plan because it's a little weird not having it at all when you're doing this. So, especially
the only reason, obviously, we didn't, as Pat indicated at the briefing yesterday, we didn't do a site plan because we're not doing any exterior
right.
work.
But eventually you're going to have to do one anyway. So you might as well get, it's not like we're asking you to spend more money.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Now, Mr. McRae had questions yesterday, so I'm going to go to him.
Mr.
He might be
Hegney,
happy now.
just a quick question. Is there any shared parking with the bank, alternate site, the office next door for any one of the buildings that have parking in the back there?
There are a couple of parking spaces that are associated with M&T Bank because of how their property line is located that look like they should be parking for the other buildings on Railroad Avenue, but are not, and they're marked for M&T Bank. The parking that's associated with this building is not part of that and is directly behind the building and is on the property of our landlord.
Okay. And there's no shared agreement or anything for any of that after hours like that?
No, there is not.
Okay. And just, I want to make sure I understand. With the one space that you were looking for, or actually is leased, is actually on site someplace. That's the one that's actually part of the lease agreement?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's directly behind the building.
So maybe we could ask to have a copy of the lease agreement.
I can give you
Or
the
whatever it is.
required excerpts, but that's really
good.
Yeah,
proprietary information.
Yeah, we wouldn't ask you for the, you could X out or whatever. All we care about is that you got the parking. We don't
Okay.
want to fool with your business.
There is a paragraph that includes just that language.
Yep, just say this is what it is. Anything else from the commission? No. Okay. Mr. Hegney, if you're okay, I'm going to go to public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, I was the Department of Health you're going to work with. They have no comments. I was kind of surprised that they're like, okay, that's cool, but it's their job. Anybody from the public wish to speak in regard to the Taco Project LLC application at 91 Railroad Avenue? This is a taco place on Railroad Avenue instead of a cigar store. Anybody wish to speak? No. All right. Anybody on the commission object to closing this application at this time?
No.
Seeing no objection, this application is hereby closed. All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tessie. I mean, Mr. Hegney.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I know John takes it as a compliment, but really,
I know, but it was just, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. Because we were joking about it yesterday and we knew you were listening.
Yes.
And then Lo goes, oh, and I can't tell them apart. And I said you were going to we're going to lend Tessie the Groucho Marx thing. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
I'll come in
Mr.
my raincoat and do my Columbo routine next time I see
you can't. Does he know that we call him that? We
Uh,
don't
I-
anymore.
No, you haven't called him that in quite a while. But
Because it was only when he was in person and he shuffled at the podium.
see, being in person is so much more fun.
No,
You really
it is
need
not.
to think about that.
Oh, no, it's not.
For the
I
record,
see a lot
Mr.
of head
Heg-
shaking, but it's really more fun.
Mr. Hegney, for the record, I have no trouble at all figuring out the difference between the two of you. I don't believe I've ever mistaken one for the other, but
I
I'm
appreciate
not,
that, Mr. Lowe.
I'm, I may be alone here.
We're all just going to
Spread the
stay
word
silent.
then, please.
All righty. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
So we go on to our next application. Who is that?
Are we at Woodside, please?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you got lost because we're jumping so much. Who is the Woodside applicant? I can't remember.
Andrew and Jessica Weiner.
Chip Haslin.
Oh,
And that's weird. Chip Haslin or not? Yeah, okay. All right. Here it comes. Okay. Let me get into that.
Good evening, members of the commission. Chip Haslam for the applicant.
Hello, Mr. Haslam.
Good evening. I just have to tell you, I got in the elevator at town hall this morning, and then a gentleman got in after me, and he turned to me and said, "John?" And I said, "No, not John." He said, "Yeah, John Tessie, right?" So I don't know what it is, but I
You
guess
all look alike after a while.
yes. So
That's
anyway,
very funny. Did you tell Mr. Hagney that we're giving him a complex on purpose?
it's funny.
I just couldn't
Very
resist.
funny.
Okay.
So
All right.
we got the staff notes on Friday and went through them, and they look very clean. No substantial issues that we could see. And then prior to the briefing yesterday, my client informed me that after looking at the conservation comments, that some of those trees had been removed pursuant to an inland wetlands permit. And those are 3 trees to the rear of the property, including a birch and a couple oaks, and then a large tree on the wood side, which is outside of the upland review area. So it was not part of the inland wetlands application, but my clients mistakenly thought that with the inland wetlands permit, they had permission to remove the 3 trees, which they did, as well as since the 36-inch oak was outside of the URA, that they could remove that as a regular property owner. They did not realize that when you have a site plan application pending with the commission, you can't do any site work
You
whatsoever.
slapped them, right?
Well, they were very apologetic and they felt badly about it. But in any
Oh,
event,
it's terrible when you're like, oh, oops. I didn't know when I lived in New Jersey, I didn't know you had to get a permit to take any tree down. You didn't
really?
have to have a site plan. If you want to take down a tree, you have to get a permit. I didn't know that. And I started to take down a tree. And the next thing I know, my neighbors all came over. Mr. Leroux?
Technically, it's subdivision applications, but we like the practice of not messing
You're
around.
not supposed to be working on the site
Right.
once you filed the application.
Correct.
And a tree is site work. So
Yeah.
it technically extends to both. Okay, you still have your hand up. Let me lower this for you. Okay. All
Thank
right.
you. So that was really it. I've got Mr. Wiener on. He's in attendance
Oh,
tonight.
I'm
if
sorry,
you wanna-
Mr. Weiner. I didn't mean to be cruel to you or anything. So as I remember somewhere in here, I thought they were adding trees and I'm having trouble finding it.
Yeah, so if you look at L100, that's the landscape plan.
Yeah.
And I've got Robert Brem, the landscape architect, who's also in attendance if you want to promote him, Madam Chair, and he can discuss the landscape plan in greater detail. It's a pretty well-wooded lot as it is. The Wieners actually live at 125 Woodside and have for many years, and the opportunity arose to buy the neighboring lot and expand their house. So they're not developers. They've lived there for a long time. Actually, Andrew's head of the neighborhood association. And they do like their big trees and their plantings, so they will preserve that aspect of the property.
So question, one of the things, and I don't know who answers this for me. How does it work that wetlands said that those trees could come out in the URA and then conservation comments that they should be preserved?
That boggles my mind too. I thought that they were pretty much under the same umbrella. But
Well, they are under the same umbrella. Everybody reports
I
to
don't
them.
I don't think the wetland permit specifically stated being able to actually cut the trees
Yeah,
down.
that's what we were looking for yesterday. Jackie was going to get back to us and didn't have a chance.
no, she did get back to you
So I
actually.
think- Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Haslam. Yeah, so staff did get back. It was requested through the wetlands agency and permitted. So, I
Not in
can't-
the wetlands permit, but then they went separately
Yes.
and asked, got it. Okay. I just
Yeah.
didn't understand that. And
Nope.
today I lost some emails.
So it was a specific request and action and approved.
Okay.
But yeah, I
Yes, there's an email in the materials on the OneDrive dated 12/8/25 trees.
Okay.
And in fact, one of the trees that was permitted to be removed is that birch tree that conservation had asked that it be maintained as a snag, which I was not familiar with that term.
Stag.
Stag. Well, I think it's snag. Okay.
Well, it
But-
says stag here.
it's snag is the term. Yeah.
Okay, it says a
think of it as
standing
as a
stag.
taller tree stump. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually that is going to remain. The winners kept it in place to kind of deal with erosion. So that stayed. It's only really the question of the tree on Woodside, which was a mistake. Really, if they'd taken the tree down 2 weeks earlier, they would have been fine because we wouldn't have had the application pending, but that was it. So I don't think there's any other issues that was raised. We've got our experts with us if you want to hear from anybody, but
Let's
pretty
just
clean.
take a quick look at the tree planting that you have in the landscape plan.
Yes. Why don't you call up, if you could, Robert Brem, the landscape architect, and he can go into greater detail.
Or we can just look at it too. Oh, he's got his hand up. Okay. We don't have to spend detail, but just so you know, we're looking at the tree replacement. All right. Can anybody throw up the?
It's
landscape plan?
L100.
Okay, so it's a snag. I just looked it up. A majestic, often dead upright tree that looks like a stag due to its branching, but then it has parens a snag. So go figure it out. Both would be right. Mr. Brahm, I leave that to you.
So it is a snag. It's left behind to decay and provide environmental benefits. The main thing is that the property is very well forested.
Yep.
Trees that are there
Okay.
main are significant and substantial, and the landscaping that we're providing is rather minimal. It's really to fill in the buffer along the wetland, the waterfront border.
Okay.
The property is already very well screened on the sides, so there wasn't a need for filling in with a lot of evergreens like normal. And it's very simple landscape planning. So the new trees are all located in the back along the water, 2 dogwoods and a river birch.
Okay.
And further up the slope is swamp magnolia and 2 red maple by the driveway.
Oh, good that you didn't put the magnolia by the driveway. Okay. And if we ask you to continue to explore additional tree opportunities, your clients will be pleased. So, right.
That's what we need to do, sure.
I mean, just ask you to continue to explore. It sounds like your clients, so happy to do that anyway. All right. Any other questions from the commission on the landscaping? No, gone. Okay. Any other questions in general from the commission on this application? Comments?
Mr. Haslam, it's 2 separate lots now. You're going to put together a lot merge map?
Yes. Okay. Consolidation map will be recorded in the land records.
Thank you. It's just always better to have the history when somebody goes to Google it. Anything else from the commission? All right. Any comments from the public? Again, this application is 121 and 125 Woodside Drive, application number 9, 121 and 125 Woodside Drive. Any comments? No. All right. So with that, does anyone on the commission have objections to closing this site plan at this time?
No.
And special permits, sorry, I should have said both. Okay, anybody else? No? All right, seeing no objection, this application is hereby closed. Best of luck.
Thank you.
To both. Thank you. All righty. And now we're going to go to 1139 King Street. And it's Mr. Bristol. All right. Okay. Hello, Mr. Bristol. Our next application is Eric and Danielle Claycomb for a final site plan and special permit to construct an addition to an existing single-family dwelling within a historic overlay and conservation cluster zone located on a 19,681 square foot property located at 1139 King Street, which, as mentioned, is the RACC4 HO zone. And with that, Mr. Bristol, you heard our discussion yesterday.
I heard much of it. Again, Christopher Bristol representing the applicants, Eric and Danielle Claycomb. Yeah, I mean, just to step back, the intent here was to just get to an understanding as to what variances we actually need here. Although it's a relatively small property, I gotta tell you, this is one of the most unique, a set of zoning facts that I had to go through. It took me quite a long time to try to figure out what standards were applicable when.
The reason it's a small property is because it was originally, from the time that they came before us in 2017, the reason it was a small property was because it was originally supposed to be maintenance. So it wasn't supposed to be one of the regular dwelling units. Then they wanted to change it to a regular dwelling unit and made changes at that time. It was, and so, but that's the reason that it's unique. We could have told you all that. But
I know. I guess I wasn't sure if you needed any, needed me to go through how this property came about.
We didn't do it as a pre-app.
No, we did. We talked about this as a pre-app.
We did. I don't remember mentioning why
Yeah, we did.
size. We did,
Yeah.
but we didn't mention the size.
Oh,
The size of the lot. Maybe it just didn't come up in the discussion. Okay. I just don't remember that part of the discussion on the history of the property.
yeah, but it was part of the original Gable estate, in 1988.
That
it was-
whole, yeah.
that
that
whole
I
thing
know.
was to create the HO and the RACC4. Then subsequently was the planned unit community Chieftains was developed. This property was never incorporated into the Chieftains community, although it's subject, to the HO standards and the conservation cluster development standards, because it's technically still within those zones. Now,
So my take to answer you, the thing we were saying yesterday, where you are taking, and we're going to have that discussion about what is your street sided, what is your side, where your frontage is in a sec, but where you are taking your side yard from conforming to non-conforming, that to us seems like you need a variance as well.
which one? So the intent was, if you look at the zoning
if I
survey.
might, if you want me to
sorry.
answer you,
Sure.
where you're going from 51.22 to 25.74, where 35 feet would be required. The commission may vary that, but as long as you're going in for a variance of the floor area ratio, my personal sense would be ask for both things so that the ZBA can make the combined decision, because they're really looking at one proposal and deciding on non-conformities that are associated with one proposal. So to only give them one of them seems like they don't get to do the whole thing. Let's let them act on both things together.
On both the FAR and the yard, or are you talking about both orientations of yards?
No, we're going to talk about the orientation of the yard, because I don't know which way the house is, and there's two different representations that you've given us. The two variances that I believe, unless someone corrects me, is the one on FAR on your total floor area. FAR total floor area here. You then go on your, what is noted as the side yard from 51.22 to 25.74, which is non-conforming by 35 by 10 feet roughly.
Yep, the east side.
Yeah. Okay. Now then you've got the separate question that Bianca raises, which is, because in my mind, and you guys disagree with me, I just feel like if ZBA is being asked about the FAR, if they agree to the FAR, what are we going to say about the side yard? Right? They've already made the decision. So I would say let them make the whole decision, because they're making the decision when they make the FAR decision. The applicant's narrative and zoning location survey indicates the front yard as fronting on the private road Element Lane, with King Street being the side street. But the
That's
site
as intended, yes.
But the
I
site-
understand the site plan didn't reflect the changes.
Got
So, but the ZLS shows how we propose it.
Okay, and the ZLS is correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the numbers. The numbers are the same. They're just they're saying that Element is the front, so those deficiencies are still there, but it's just actually just turning it 90 degrees. So instead of King Street, it's Element.
Yeah.
So
it
there's
just-
front, side, and everything else changes.
Well, the numbers,
I thought
I
they made
know the
them up.
numbers are the same, but it's what you call
Mhm.
where those numbers are.
Right, Mr. Bristol.
Well,
Did,
it also
did-
dictates the amount, which yards we would need variances of. I mean, first of all, the property, the front is located oriented toward, north toward Element Lane. And second of all, it seemed to make the most sense given the whole context in order to sort of make all the existing yards make as much sense as possible given the situation.
Okay. I don't know how we will handle this exactly, but I do believe that the ZBA should have the opportunity to see conservation's comments.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just being transparent with you that we previously did something where the ZBA had not seen staff comments, and so they didn't have the full context. So I'd like somehow to make sure that ZBA does see them, that they know what conservation's position is regarding the conservation zone.
Okay, I understand. The only comment I'd make, to the extent that it's relevant here, is that the conservation comments did mention about reduction of nonconformities, which sounded like a zoning
We're ignoring that.
zoning matter, from a zoning
We're ignoring
framework. as
that. We
opposed to
love our
conservation.
conservation friends a lot, but it's okay. We do zoning, they do conservation. Yeah, so, but their point was the issue with the conservation cluster is to conserve.
Right. And to clarify that point as well, I would know that in terms of the overall property that we're thinking of, the Gimble estate that was made conservation, I think there's 50% or 45, 46 acres of preserved property, basically, all aside from the road, surround the property.
Yeah.
So I just want to make that note. I understand what you mean.
But at the same time, you could go back and look at the history. We discussed it yesterday. We approved, remind me, you guys, of the address, the conservation zone where we reduced the size of the buildings.
Is that the one across the street at 1141?
Yeah.
Not across the street, but.
Yeah.
yes,
There
at the
it
end
is.
of Element Lane.
So look at that and consider that we had that in our heads that to reduce the overall square footage of the buildings, and we took them from 10 to 8. So just something to discuss with your clients when, depending, I mean, if ZBA is fine, but ZBA may be fine with the concept of a 3,000 square foot structure, in which case, there you go. Okay, Nick.
Mr. Bristol, in terms of actually defining and rotating this from King Street as frontage to Element Lane, did you have any discussions with the zoning enforcement officer?
That's what I was wondering.
I did initially, and then, but I started to, but then I didn't finish up with anything. So no, I didn't get any particular comment from them.
So I thought you had to get sign off when you changed the designation of where you front.
I honestly, I didn't know what to do with it. I mean, if I did it,
Patrick?
if you want to require, have it be the other way, that's fine.
So,
And then I could change.
Time out. On development, as I remember, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, on development, Nick, you know this too. On development, you have to get sign off from either zoning it's zoning enforcement, right?
Well, that is a zoning permit. You'd have to get zoning compliance review, and they would either agree with or not that where the designation of your setback.
Okay, so
So-
when you, so all we would have to do, and someone's gonna have to remember, prior to zoning permit, they have to get the agreement as to where they're front.
Well, I think actually understanding where we're going, this is a ZBA issue that he's gonna go off for variances, that kind of thing.
He could ask for the change in the frontage too.
I think
Yeah.
actually it's verification with the CEO
Let's see
as
what
to
Patrick says.
which is what, because I think that would be part and parcel to the application made.
Mhm.
You know, King Street is the frontage as opined by so on and so forth, right?
That's exactly what I had meant just a minute ago. It changes what variances I ask for. And in truth, I was hoping that the zoning enforcement officer would come back with a comment saying I was, the designation was wrong or right, or he agreed one way or the other, but I didn't see that.
Right. And you have access agreements on Element Lane for the property?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay. The front wall that's newly constructed is over the property line. Keep an eye on that.
Apparently that was done during the pandemic, and then I think I'm not sure who actually lined it up.
You better get a variance for it then.
For what?
If
Yeah,
over
it's
the
not a
property
variance
line.
as much as actually approval from the highway division because it's actually in the right of way.
It's in the right of way.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
hold on a
not
second.
a retaining wall, and it's not. I think it's less than 6 feet, so it's not a retaining wall.
It's
So I don't.
not just the highway go ahead.
Hold on.
Nick.
King Street. Isn't that a state highway?
Depends on where it is.
Okay, add that into the mix of things. Just it would be an encroachment into the right of way for either the town and or the state as well. But it's up to Mr. Bristol to figure that one out.
Well, the state would be New York in this instance. It's either a local road in Connecticut or it's a state road in New York.
Okay, in this thing, according to the survey I'm looking for, the state line is actually running through the middle of the asphalt, plus or minus. So a good portion of the right of way is actually in Connecticut and New York State. It's almost exactly the.
Out of all the conditions to knock on wood, hopefully if we get approved, I'd be happy to address that. However manner I can, be it an encroachment sort of agreement kind of thing, or I'd prefer not to move it only because I'm sure it's a real pain to do.
Okay,
but
well, seeing as
whatever needs to be done.
yeah, we're at a pre-app, so you've got a list of things to do. That would be one
This
of
is
them.
not a
This is
pre-app.
final.
This is final.
The understanding here is that I was
Go
hoping
ahead.
to keep this open. Well, I was hoping to keep this open and then immediately file with PZBA because their docket's relatively light, be able to not postpone this, but keep this pending and then get my variance and then hopefully come back and finish up.
Madam Chair, would we want to consider actually sending some kind of a note or comment
Yeah.
to ZBA through
We're going to
staff?
send a note to comment and say that a couple of things. The commission reviewed this application and would like you to see the conservation comments and also concluded, since I didn't hear anybody disagree, that that the applicant should seek variances for the side yard as well as the FAR, since they are being created, the need for them is being created by the same action. And so they should have the decision, the whole decision then. And I think we should at least send them that with conservation's comment or anything else that Patrick and Bianca find appropriate about the conservation zone and how it works.
I did have one more
That's not
question.
something that they usually work with, so we need to give them the background.
I did
Learned
have
my
another question,
lesson.
if I may, in terms of variances.
Yeah.
There's technically also a 100-foot setback from the conservation boundary, which goes along the Element Lane and King Street. So would that be something I ask for variance for, or would that be something that the commission would waive or
Say
modify?
it again.
There's a 100-foot setback from the boundary line of the
That's what
conservation
you're,
zone.
so this is a discussion we had yesterday. You already should have the 100-foot setback. And Patrick asked us this question yesterday, and you are not using it. So somebody originally approved you not having it, is my take, Patrick.
Yeah, so well, I would say it appears that the existing structure is within that setback. So that was approved at some point, even after the zoning was applied here and modified and all the other pertinent building approvals that were given to this. So I think it still needs a decision from you all or from the ZBA. And this was part of the reason why I had my hand up, is that we can't close this if there's outstanding zoning conditions that need to be addressed. So
we know that.
and I did suggest to Mr. Bristol, and he's correctly points out that if the commission was going to take up some of the waiver conditions, it'd be better to do it first and then send it to the ZBA. Or if you wanted to put it all to the ZBA, that's also fine. But I think we needed to have that discussion first. So I'm glad we
On the setback.
Yeah, and to your point about sending a comment, I think it's necessary here. This is a unique scenario, and the ZBA needs to understand what the commission is willing to take up on their own, or which they would rather leave to them on their request for waivers.
If you could just send me a copy when you send it to PZBA. Is that
Sure.
something
Of
that you
course.
do? Okay, thank you.
We wouldn't want to not be transparent. But on the 100-foot setback, the original structure was the structure was always there.
Right.
And then we approved chieftains around this structure as well as the big house. So my take is the commission knew there was not an 100-foot setback and has agreed to it so that we could, based on the original development approval, we could say that has been waived historically.
I'm not sure I'm quite comfortable with that. I think what
Okay.
it said is that the commission understood that the structure was going to be within the expanded setbacks, and that any future additions or alterations were going to be subject to either a commission or ZBA decision. That, if you're following me.
Okay. Okay, so but we could do that when they come back.
If that issue you want to take up, yeah.
Yeah, because we just can't close it without having resolved it, but we can
Yeah,
do that
and
when they come back.
we'll formulate a list of items and what will be ZBA's option to, or the commission's option to cede to the ZBA and vice versa.
And then the highway encroachment question needs to be resolved by Mr.
Well, yeah,
Bristol.
so to that point, the zoning does not extend into the town's right of way, so there's no opportunity for a variance. So it would either be a permissive action by the highway division, or it would have to be removed.
And the question is whose jurisdiction? Is it under town or state?
Right.
Can we
And
address that
which-
before a zoning permit?
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it would have to be addressed before we acknowledge any zoning permits.
Sure.
Okay, so he goes to now what about, so he goes to ZBA for those two things. He can't address the encroachment. What are we going to do about the street frontage? That can also be addressed by zoning permit?
So, yeah, so we can certainly have that as to be a discussion with the ZBA, with the zoning enforcement officer about the designation there. And that would be the best time to do it if you ask my opinion.
Okay. All right, so basically at this point, we send Mr. Bristol on his way.
Can you,
Before
I
we get
apologize.
public
Can you
comment.
can you reiterate that last part? Perhaps Patrick, you could do that about the conversation. Do you want me to confirm the designation with the CEO before I file with PZBA? Is that what you're asking?
You can certainly do that. I think we could also have that discussion with the discussion can be had with the ZBA about what they would consider to be the optimal arrangement of setbacks to limit the number of variances required. I mean, that's the general practice of what happens with the ZBA is the minimum amount necessary to waiver would be the ideal situation. So
I'll make that designation and then make that point out when I go to PZBA with my pitch.
Right.
Okay. If you don't object, Mr. Bristol, does anybody wish to comment on this application? This is Eric and Danielle Claycomb. It is at 1139 King Street, otherwise known as Chieftains, previously the Gimbel Estate.
You're asking for public comment, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any public comment? No. All right. Okay, no public comment. Anybody think from the commission, anything else? All righty, so, Mr. Bristol, I think you're pretty square on what we're gonna do.
Yep.
We just we'll have to track and make sure we know when you're gonna be before the ZBA so we can, make sure that they have the material on conservation zones. I think they've seen HOs recently, but I don't remember the last time I saw a conservation zone.
I'll keep staff posted with whenever I file with PZB.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Understood. Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening.
All righty, so now we go to, wow, this is kind of amazing. Okay, our next application, who's got 528 Round Hill? Besides you.
That is going to be Eric Glassman, and then the builder, and I'm not sure what he's named. So Chris,
Okay,
if
well,
you
the
could put your
problem with
hand up.
Mr. Glassband is he's in the meeting twice. I'll promote.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that. Yeah, he was in once and then he came in twice. And I know the builder is having trouble changing his name, so he might be that FCG
if the
Inc., but I'm
builder-
not positive.
If the builder for 528 Round Hill, just raise your virtual hand.
It's down at the
Miss-
bottom, Chris, in the middle.
Okay, got it. Okay, we
Okay,
got
there he
you.
is, all the numbers. Yep, we have a
Okay.
few unidentified folks. I just wasn't sure which one he was.
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, no, we don't, but that's okay. And then, and we got one of the glass band ones came in, so we're good. All right, okay, we're all set. Application number 12, EG Properties for a final site plan and special permit to construct a new single-family residence where the total volume of all the structures will exceed 150,000 cubic feet on a 4.001 acre property located at 528 Round Hill Road in the RA4 zone. And with that, hello, Mr. Glassman. And you're muted. Wait, how come you still have light? How do I tell you? There should be a little microphone somewhere that you can click on. On your
Bottom left
Okay,
corner.
there we
There you
go.
go.
Perfect. Now, how come you still have light?
I don't know.
Where are you?
You don't see me?
No,
Yeah,
we see you.
but
It's just a really bright
You're in
light in his
Oh,
house.
it's really bright light. Oh,
You're in daylight.
I didn't know that this would be the most challenging part of this hearing.
Oh, you're indoors. I thought you were outside, and I'm like, how
No,
come he
no,
has
no.
light? Oh, we thought you were outdoors. I thought
No,
you were
outdoors.
outdoors. Okay. No, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
I thought you were in some beautiful, warm, sunny place.
No.
Okay. All righty. Do you guys want to lead off on the application?
Sure. You want me to lead off, or do you want Tracy?
No, not Tracy. She doesn't get to
Oh.
help you.
No, you guys are in charge now.
You're
Okay.
in charge now.
Yeah, so
She helped you before.
So we submitted an application. We heard back from various departments, which we addressed all of them. There was a landscape plan done by Eric Rains, which the Conservation Committee suggested that we make some modifications, small modifications to take out non-native plants, additional plantings around the parking areas, reduce native cultivars, general rain garden plan. We did those and we resubmitted that yesterday. I believe Tracy sent it out to Conservation. I'm not sure on that, but we resubmitted the revision yesterday. Conservation also asked us to address the parking area, which we did. We are prepared to make a 4-foot reduction on both sides, which should decrease the surface area of the front parking court by 16%. And hopefully that, is met favorably. The other parking court was a little bit difficult. Our architect thought it needed to stay that width just for a proper turning radius. We got comments from the engineering division, which were all addressed and are being addressed with no problem. It's in the works with our engineer, Lou DiMarzo. I don't need to, you don't want me to discuss those, do you?
No.
Okay. It was a list provided, and we're going to address all of them. We did a couple revisions for EMAC. I believe that they think that it's a viable plan now. We did add solar panel ready installation. We put EV charging in. We created a really tight envelope despite not doing other renewables. I believe those are the comments that we
Yep.
did address. There was nothing from zoning enforcement. So I think that's the extent of the comments that we addressed.
Okay. Tracy, do you know if conservation got a chance to look at the new landscape plan?
I sent it to them. I was not in the office today. So I did not get a chance to kind of stop by and see staff. They have not provided any additional comments to me. The applicant team did address the Conservation Commission's specific comments.
Okay.
They were looking for the front parking court area to be reduced. Whether they have a specific comment, so it's been reduced 4 feet in both dimensions. So I don't know whether they have a comment on that, but the applicant team did do the plant substitutions that the Conservation Commission staff was looking for, and also added planting around the parking courts as well. And there was a seed mix. There is a pollinator meadow area behind the house where the retaining walls are. They did change that to a native seed mix versus what was originally proposed.
So would it, given the fact that the applicant has taken these steps to addressing the conservation comments, would it be appropriate for us to condition a decision on final agreement by you and the conservation folks?
Staff on the final
and
landscape
staff
plan?
on
Sure.
the final landscape plan and the configuration of the parking court? And then we would just make a decision today?
Yes.
Assuming that we moved it favorably. Okay. By the way, we didn't comment about this yesterday, but I'm just seeing again that you're doing the 100-year storm.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, they are doing.
I
Yes,
wanted to
engineering
thank
pointed
you.
that out.
Thank you for that.
And the changes for engineering are the smaller revisions that are
it's
needed
not
prior to zoning
building
permit sign
permit.
off.
To permit. Yeah, thank you for that, because we don't require it. And if you drive around town, it's getting to the point where we really should be, but it's not our authority, so we can't ask that. But boy, everybody complains when we have a heavy rain nowadays.
Yeah, no, I bet.
And we get these really heavy rains. Tracy, what else?
The only other minor item is in the pool house canopy
Yeah.
structure. The closet needs to be included in the FAR calculations as well. I only point that out because the FAR is close. The ZEO staff
But at
will
least he has a
look.
few hundred feet. We have one that's like 5 feet, right?
Yeah, no, this one does have a couple hundred feet. Yeah, so it's not as close as the 6-foot one, but
368 to be exact.
Yeah.
And
yeah, just
the
need to add the
wiggle-
closet in. So
the wiggle
you'll
room
still
at
be
10
fine, but
wiggle room at 10,000 square feet. This is a concern. Yeah, the
Yeah, but-
closet in the cabana is not a big deal. There's a shower next to it that could be considered a enclosed space.
it's
that kind of thing.
lattice on one side, Nick, the shower. I did review the shower with zoning enforcement already.
Mm-hmm.
So the shower does not need to be included, but the closet does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, when it's that close, I go right down the hall, talk to him.
Yeah.
Make
Well,
sure
but
we've
he's
got
going to
everything.
be checking it.
And the zoning enforcement will check it in detail when
yeah.
you're within 10% of the maximum allowable FAR. Zoning enforcement, it's not a counter sign off anymore. Zoning
Coming and
enforcement
going.
takes the plans and essentially redoes the calculations and contacts the architect if they have any questions. So they double check it basically.
Oh yes.
Okay. Anything else from the commission?
Yeah, just a quick question. Are the parking court surfaces pervious? They are?
As I remember, they are. Tracy just confirmed.
So
but
I don't believe they are actually, but the
thought the
applicant can answer that
comment-
question better
I
than I
thought there
can.
was, isn't this the one that had the exchange that even though they're pervious, they still can't?
They changed it to gravel and conservation indicated it's still impervious.
Yeah.
Right, gravel doesn't make it pervious,
Yeah.
right?
Well, gravel doesn't take it out of coverage either.
Right.
Right.
So it is still
Yeah,
asphalt.
that's
I
it.
did, yeah, my architect did suggest changing, one or some of the parking areas to gravel,
Yeah.
and conservation didn't seem to
Didn't look like a,
yeah,
yeah.
they didn't seem to care either way.
Yeah.
So
Is that a possibility to make those?
Well, we're going to
surface-
ask them to do that and the landscaping with conservation, get
Yeah.
final agreement.
Changing to gravel is
No.
not considered making it pervious.
Right.
Because after a couple years, gravel is just as hard as asphalt. It doesn't drain any better. So that's why that's why the applicant team has decided to shrink the front parking court to address conservation's comments, not switch it to gravel. Because switching it to gravel alone was not something that conservation was
Yeah.
considering a change, really.
And the blocks, the grasscrete is pervious and stays pervious, but I did finally, it's hard sometimes to find people who will do those.
It depends also what the fill is. If it's topsoil or gravel, then it gets coefficients get all equaled out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in theory, yeah. Okay. So, and we're going to let you work that out with conservation so that, that's just conditioned.
Okay.
Okay. So, I can't think of anything else. So let me just see if there's any public comment. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application at 528 Round Hill Road? This is a new single-family residence. 528 Round Hill Road. The applicant is called EG Properties. Please raise your virtual hand. Seeing no hands. Does anybody want to add anything else? No. Does anybody have any objection to closing this application?
Nope.
Okay. All righty. So we will close this application then. All righty. Thank you
Okay.
very much, both. Best of luck with the project.
thank you, Commission.
Just so you're aware, Eric, the commission will come back and do their motion later in the meeting.
So
All right,
don't stay
Tracy,
away.
I may have moved them while you were doing the next
Okay,
one.
they've been
Mr.
emailing me through the meeting,
Glassman.
so I will. These are new applicants, so the process is a little new to them.
So,
So I will
Mr.
let them know that.
Glassband, you can hear us now. We'll make this decision when we end tonight. You can just bother Tracy first thing in the morning if you want to go do something else, and she'll let you know, or she'll just send you an
Later in the
email.
morning is better. Yes,
Yeah, or she'll let you know right after we vote.
I'm
or
not friendly
something like
first
that.
thing in the morning,
Wait.
as staff can attest.
Okay, so now I've got some bad news for Mr. Basili. Mr. Basili.
He will be dispatched.
Mr. Basili, it's
Yes.
time to say Merry Christmas.
Oh, well, thank you. No more cases. Oh, I wanted a few more, but it's
Oh,
okay.
you can stay for the discussion items. We've got 3 discussion items that should be interesting if you'd like to stay.
Oh. Well, maybe I'll tape it and replay it tomorrow.
Okay. Have a wonderful holiday.
Thank
and
you.
thank you for everything you do.
Well, thank you. Same to all of you. Have a nice
Bye-bye.
time off at the end of the year. Bye-bye.
Bye. And maybe we won't come back, right? All right. Okay, so now we go to the discussion items. Who has 19 Livingston?
I believe that's Mr. Bristol, right? Or no, am I missing? No,
No, I don't remember.
I'm.
I should write the names down, and I always forget to do that. Who's got which one?
I usually remember, but not tonight.
Okay. Oh, look, Mr. Basili's frozen. Do you want to try and get him out yourself?
I'm looking for the
It's a
applicant.
nice picture of him. Oh, Oscar Ovalle, and I even knew that. Mr. Ovalle, yep, he's all set. Okay, now you can just See if you can get Mr. Basili out. Okay, Mr. Ovalle, if you would just unmute and turn on your camera, we'd love to see you. Nick McRae, what's up?
Put my hand up.
Oh, you're ready to ask questions. Okay. Our next, we're now going to the discussion items and part of our regular meeting. Our first item is Luis Morocho for a pre-application review for proposed construction of a new two-family residential dwelling on an undersized lot. It's on a 6,531 square foot parcel located at 19 Livingston Place in the R6 zone. Mr. Ovalle, do you want to describe your project or do you want us to jump in with questions? I think in the interest of time, Mr. McRae is already ready to ask you questions, if that's okay.
Perfect. Yeah, no, it's pretty simple. It's a two-family house.
Okay. Yeah.
3 bedrooms, each one of the units. 2 parking garage and 4 parking spots in the driveway. We have basement, which is basically a storage and mechanicals. 2 stories and 1 attic space. We are in an undersized lot. The driveway is gonna be made out of porous asphalt to mitigate somehow the flood. And basically that's the project.
Mr. McRae, your hand's down, but you had raised it.
Yes, Mr. Valle, from most of the applicants or most of the members here, when we take a look at something as proposed like this, the biggest concern is parking in the front yard.
Yeah.
The biggest reason why you're here. I have a site plan provided by Soundview that shows 6 spaces in the front yard. Your architectural shows 4.
Yeah, that's something that we are working with them because that there is a discrepancy. We are actually proposing 4 parking spots and we were thinking on occupying a little bit more of the space at the front as green area to propose some kind of screening to mitigate the view of the cars park at the front.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the next step is actually that the screening at the street is going to be significant.
Yeah.
And also as you're laying this out, understanding being able to maneuver and get the cars in and out of the parking lot, the front area through the curb cut in a convenient manner.
Okay.
Our biggest concern is actually people, yes, you're supposed to park on the site in the designated spaces. If it's actually completely inconvenient, they wind up parking on the street, which is something we're actually trying to avoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, we were trying to, if you see the plan view, kind of the driveway is deep, thinking of that, have better maneuver for the cars, the garage.
Right. The on the plan, you have the asphalt walk, etc., beyond the property line. If you're going to be shortchanging or actually moving 2 spaces or something like that, and you're moving things around, it'd be best to actually move and add that new area to the front. That way, you have a better planting bed for your landscape.
Yeah,
screening.
absolutely.
I'm not picturing that. Could one of you people put that up? Do you mind?
This
What you
is
meant by
page
that?
149 of the staff report.
Okay, let me just scroll down there so I can see it.
Okay.
The drainage report is, ugh.
I can
So I-
share my screen as well if.
No, that's okay. I'll get there. It's just that the drainage report's in the way. And Nick is going to ask me why I'm not just looking at the plans.
No, my job, isn't it?
No, I always like to look at how places are laid out. You figure stuff out. All right, so I only have I've only got 139 pages in total here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm trying to get to the front. Okay, seeing this. So Nick, tell me again what you're saying.
Okay, so per the plan, from Soundview, there's 6 spaces in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
There would be 2 in the garage.
Right.
I think it actually has to be defined, actually, what is the actual parking count required? If you lose 2 spaces in the front out of those 6,
They're going to be short.
I would say that actually that any land that's left over be biased towards the front yard so the planting bed could be larger.
Well, but why would you be losing the 2 spaces?
We
It's
are
a-
gonna have total 6, which is what we need.
2 in the garage, 2 in the garage, and 6 outside, according to the plan you're looking at.
No,
4 outside.
4 outside.
4 outside.
I'm looking at 6 with 2 in the
Yeah, no.
garage.
Yeah, but
So,
we are gonna.
like I said, when it's revised and this
No,
chat
wait,
plan changes,
wait. I'm not following you. There's 4 in the front. There's 2 in
No.
the garage.
I'm looking at a plan that says
2 different
6.
plans, Margarita, 2 different plans.
Okay,
This is the sound view.
A102, page 143.
No. 149, the ZLS created by Soundview Engineers Land Surveyors.
Okay,
October
go to
22nd.
go
Today, there
to-
it is.
Okay,
Thank
but
you,
go
whoever
to
put
the
that up.
actual site plan. Go to A102, page 143.
Yeah, that's the discrepancy we are working with Zambia.
Yeah, that's not the site plan. That's the architectural floor plan. The site
Right.
plan is 149, page 149 by the civil engineer. That's the one we have to go
Okay,
with.
so you have to fix this because they're okay, I got it. So you're showing 4 outside and 2 inside.
Exactly.
And what Nick is saying is if that allows you to now add more landscaping in the front, he'd like to see you do that.
Yeah, we
Okay,
will
got it.
definitely. Yeah.
Oh, I was slow on that. I'm so sorry. Okay, got it. Okay. All right. Okay, what other comments or guidance from the commission?
Do you still want to see the architectural plan? I finally got it.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I've got,
all right.
I'm on Nick's page as well as,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so to piggyback on what Nick's talking about, that screening, that landscape plan should include sufficient height in the screening so that any vehicles parked there are concealed, if you will. Right?
Okay. Yeah, that's what we pretend to do.
It's not just low little bushes.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, that street has a lot of cars already in front yards to add more. Yeah.
Mary.
Yeah, also, one of the diagrams shows a stockpile being placed within the drip line of a tree, and that'll have to be moved away. It's in the backyard.
Yep. But that'll also, okay, that'll fix on site plan. Anything else prior to them coming back? No. Yeah, I the only comment I had is you are putting a lot, but you know that, right?
Yeah.
You are
Yeah, the
putting,
lot is too small.
yeah, and you are putting a lot and it's tight. I mean, if you look at the layout of the apartments, but hey, it's just some of it is perspective because you're here where people, they could come out really nice as well. Okay, I don't have anything else for you, Mr. Ovalle. I'm sorry that you were here so long. If you
No
do you have
problem.
any questions for us?
No, I think it's clear what we need to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much.
So, Patrick, when anybody has, so with the new bill,
Yeah.
we won't be able to require parking for a 2-family.
My understanding is 15 units or less will no longer have parking minimums.
But but a 2-family isn't a multifamily. Does the bill say multifamily or just
I
any
think it says
structure?
15 units or less.
Okay,
So
all right.
that
So
would be
we won't,
yeah. I mean,
I
I
do not believe it designates just multifamily. I think it
Okay,
talks
so
about a total
all
number of
this-
units regardless.
Yeah.
So
So-
it would include single and 2 families.
so something to think about, Commission, since we won't be able to require parking, we won't be able to, we can have all the landscaping we want in the front yard.
Well, I think the desire or the need to have parking in the front yard will be reduced by the fact that we don't need to provide it. So,
So we won't be able to provide it. Now, we can have the police department say that it creates a health and safety risk.
right. There is still there is a traffic and health
With
safety.
the new bill, and we might just want to start going through our regs.
And we also have the option for the parking district, which
we can also create a parking district.
So, I think I sent to everybody
2 parking districts total. I think we can have.
the actions that they suggest we take now.
Yes, you sent that around.
Yep.
So we should probably look at that over Christmas. Well, after you've
It's on
opened
my list.
over your.
It's a long list, but it's on my list to look at and actually go back and pick up the PA 2129. Make sure we're not missing anything out of there too.
Yeah. So I wouldn't worry too much because we picked all the essentials. I think we did all the essential stuff out of PA 2129. And
I
there
think
is,
so. I'll just double check.
well,
it real
just
quick.
so you know, this bill overrides some of PA.
I
you
know.
that.
That's why I want to look at both and see where
The
we are.
parking in PA 2129 is now
And was
gone.
the opt out, right?
Now that's a bye-bye. Okay, let's go to our next discussion item, which is Timex Riverside Inc. with our friend Mr. DeAndrea. All right, he's coming in.
Good evening.
Hi, Mr. DeAndrea. I got a question for you right up front. Let me just read this out. Timex Riverside Inc. for a pre-application review for proposed renovations to the existing 2-family dwelling with an addition to include a 2-car garage, as well as reconfiguration of the parking lot on a 21,690 square foot parcel located at 114 Riverside Avenue in the R12 and coastal overlay zones. This parcel actually includes 2 addresses, correct? It also includes 112 Riverside Avenue, right?
Correct.
The Ada, so it's the Ada's building and the 2-family next to it. So this is what was Ada's Candy Store in Riverside. First question to you, Mr. DeAndrea, given that you're proposing this very almost doubling the 2-family house, it's a 90% increase in the floor area. And would you, in order to achieve that, would you consider doing an HO on Ada's?
First thing I would do is have to assess that suggestion with my client and the architect. I'm not so sure I agree with the 90% increase, but.
Okay, well, let's just hold on a second. Let me just open the app. And I hope somebody did me the favor of not putting the drainage report right in the way they did. Okay, so you are taking the square footage, the gross floor area of the 2-family house from 2,500 square feet to 4,900 square feet. Again, 2,500 square feet to 4,900 square feet. You figure that close to doubles it, right?
May I just correct that just a little bit? So from the architect's floor area worksheets, he shows that the total floor area for the 2-family house after the modification would be 4,300. And there's 569 more or less in the Ada's building based on our current zoning.
Don't do Ada's because you're only here for the.
Okay, then it's 4,300, not 4,900.
Okay, so you're doing 4,300. You're saying it's not the 4,905 that is in our, by the way, I don't know who filled out the zoning, the site plan application, but that's the number on the site plan application, the one I just read you.
I'm just going to check the number.
And so I'm just telling you, given the fact that you're saying your site plan application's incorrect.
No, I'm not saying that yet, but we can go along with what you're saying.
Okay, either way, it's either a 90% increase or a 68% increase. Both of those are pretty big. And so the question was, the commission discussed yesterday, I don't know if you had a chance to listen, we discussed a lot what 6141 would do in your regard, because you have, as you know, a non-conforming use in the R12 zone, which the commission may allow you to expand, but given the magnitude of the expansion, we had pause. If you had been making a minor change, it might have been easier, but this is a big expansion. So I began to wonder if you would consider doing an HO, and then that gives you more flexibility for the expansion.
Yes, and we appreciate that suggestion. So we will definitely investigate the potential and the benefit for all. I think I should just give you a little bit more understanding of what it is that's being proposed, because while there is an expansion of the footprint, it's primarily to provide parking in the form of a garage over an area that's already paved. If those of you who have visited the site, you will, I think, would come back with the impression that it was a stark development right now and needs to be improved and should be improved in the neighborhood where it exists. It's a unique piece of property in that it's surrounded by 3 streets. That's always a challenge for the zoning and the commission to assess the impact. The buildings were both constructed around 1900, according to the assessor. They have not changed significantly other than a small addition off the southeast corner of the residential building 114. The 2 numbers to the site are probably for direction and safety, if nothing else. They're assigned by the Planning and Zoning Office. So I had nothing to do with that. I don't think it's confusing. Ada's is known as 112 and the 2-family house is 114. Before the design started by John Halper, and to his credit, he was the designer of the renovation of 99 River Road, which I think is a great improvement as to what was done, what was there before. So that's a credit to John, the architect. The name of the company, you've been saying Timex. I really don't know how the best pronunciation is, but I call it TMEC. And the objective here is to improve the neighborhood, improve the site, improve the function of the building. The number of bedrooms in the building will not change. Parking will become more, actually totally compliant with the current zoning regulations. Under existing conditions, the parking on the site doesn't meet aisle widths or location. There's no handicap space designation. So it's deficient in those aspects, and it's non-conforming to the zoning. So our current plan is to bring the parking into conformance, less non-conforming on the site. We're going to meet the allowable FAR on the site. We are meeting all of the green area requirements for the R12 zone. So we're bringing everything that's possible to do into compliance with the applicable zoning criteria. The only thing that your discussion yesterday at the briefing is about whether or not this is an expansion that's legal or better or should be permitted.
Right. That's really the question, is because it's a may in our regs, which it's a non-conforming use, which we may expand given, but it's a very good point you're raising that you are reducing another non-conformity on site by modifying the parking. And I hadn't thought of it that way. So that's a good point. There
are other options, of course, that we can investigate on parking.
Speaking of other options, one of the other things I was going to suggest to you is that you kick around with Patrick what other long-term uses you could put to this site in terms of residential. This is an interesting site in that it's also got, as I remember it, and I didn't get a chance to drive by it again, but from all the times I've been down there, there's something commercial else. What is it? A little down the street? Well, you grew up there, Mr. DeAndrea.
Right. The commercial aspect is on Juniper Lane. At the end of Juniper Lane, which is the access road to the train station, you have the insurance agent at the end of the road, for one.
So
If that's what you're referring to.
Well, what I was trying to get to was this. At some point, as we move forward with this new state law, we're going to have to look at overlays to designate density areas. So that's another thing that you could kick around with Patrick if there was some sort of possibility to do something within the context of that law of the state statute where you make it okay. I don't know. I've got to go back. Another Christmas read. I got to go back, and the bill changed as it was being voted. So I want to go back and look at the final language. And we all have to go back and reread it. But we're going to be looking for where you can add some more density in town without it damaging the fabric of the town. And that's just a crazy off the wall idea. The simplest is what you consider an HO. The easiest is what you're saying is, hey, commission, I'm reducing the parking nonconformity. I'm expanding the building, but the exchange is I'm reducing the parking nonconformity, which I hadn't considered it that way.
Well,
So,
the HO is something that we can investigate and see whether it's applicable. This is ironic in that this particular applicant is intent upon improving the property for his use and still maintain that historic aspect in the retail store, which
people love Vedas. You Riverside people all love Vedas, the little building there. At least maybe you're not a normal Riverside person. I'll stop there, but people love the building. So if you were to preserve it, I think that people would be liking that.
Right. Anybody that grew up in Riverside in the 50s, such as myself, and at one time or another was in Ada's. I wasn't a regular, I will say. I do recall that in those days, you could even get a sandwich made by Ada behind the other counter on the opposite side of the penny candy counter. Having said that, nobody really has ever suggested that building should go. That's not the plan.
No, I know, but you'd get a zoning bonus if it was an HO.
I'm going to absolutely discuss it with the applicant, the owner, and his architect, and see if that makes sense to him and as a benefit to the town. You could envision some more dense parking here across from the train station, and work it around the historic building.
Talk to Patrick first, because
I will,
we didn't really have a chance to kick it around a lot. It's been a crazy 2 days, but maybe he has some additional thoughts. But we did briefly talk about it this morning. What could we do in the context of the bill, and what about suggesting an HO?
If there's a way to help the owner and help the town in some other way for compliance with what's been imposed on us, then we would all be better off. So we will definitely consider that. But I did want to leave everyone with the idea that, yes, this is an expansion of what's considered a non-conforming use, in that it's a two-family home in a residential zone. It's already been tempered by the fact that we have a retail use and an historic building, and it's been here since before any of us were born. And it should be preserved for the fabric that it does provide in that neighborhood. I have had conversations with owners of Chapel Lane, and the theme was, when is it coming back? I've also patronized it when it was open and very popular. It's an in and out effort. I thought it was very well run, so I don't think that's the detrimental part, especially considering we're right near the train station and the intensity of activity at different times of the day. So we will go back and discuss the
talk to Patrick first. And
we would definitely talk to Patrick first.
See what ideas he has, Nick.
Then proceed from there, because you made a good suggestion. but keep in mind, we started this a long time ago with the thought that we were here to improve the neighborhood and make the site overall more conforming in all aspects of our current zoning.
Nick?
Mr. DeAndrea, quick
Yes,
question.
sir.
So the premise of the additions alterations on the other building is actually pretty much the garage, and it's a connection to the garage? Is
Yes,
that what
sir.
I'm hearing? Okay.
Yes, sir. And if you'll notice, there was a small addition on the southeast corner that was to enlarge a family room, which is something that, the tendency right now seems to be large family room and kitchen. Upstairs, you'll notice that there was nothing added. The southeast corner of the building has been deemed to be legally non-conforming as to setback from Juniper Lane.
Page 23 of the application, if someone could throw it up.
What was that?
I'm talking to staff.
Oh. So anyway, you'll notice that upstairs there's a rooftop platform, if you will, on the second level, so that there was no intensity of or increase in the nonconformity by decreasing the setback. So you can see it on the south section if you flip through the house plans.
Okay.
Yeah, you can keep going through the
So
house plans
why
from there, Tris.
is such an extensive addition and expansion of the non-conforming two-family? Why not just a detached two-car garage?
Well, then you have to walk from the garage to the house.
Yeah, nobody likes that, Nick.
I thought that it was a great location. You can't see it. It's functional.
Well, I'll give you garage in the back corner. That's a great idea, but this whole connection between the non-conforming, like the chair said, almost doubles the building on one floor.
Yeah,
So-
but
But that's something to think about, understanding where we are with this
Yeah.
application.
And
I appreciate the
honestly,
fact that the reconfiguration of the asphalt out there, it's a sea of asphalt. We know that. It looks like you have an opportunity to landscape a lot, which would be a real improvement to the site. I see that you're closing up the curb cut. I would say working with the town and try to minimize as much of the sidewalk and the hardscape that's actually there on in the town right away, I think may help a lot. Give it a little bit more room so there's some more area for landscaping. I'm a little concerned about the flip-flop between having the refuse right in the back that's easy to get to, and then the refuse kind of turning 90 degrees and being blocked in by 2 parking spaces.
Well, the issue there again is that if those parking spaces, and we thought about this quite a bit because right now it's up against a residential property directly. Here we've got it proposed to be screened. We have it behind 2 parking spaces that are not likely to be in use when the time
have a
is
garage.
ripe for the garbage to be picked up. So I thought that was the best location.
Right.
Going back to the entrance to the driveway, ironically, over the weekend when I drove through again to refresh my memory, I actually drove over the curb. So narrowing it down is not always the best thing, especially when there's some component of retail activity or any site, quite honestly.
Right. What I was getting at was that, from the street curb right up to the front door of Ada's, it seems that it's paved over with something. The actual area adjacent to where the driveway is, that's all paved over. Appreciating the fact that actually you're kind of narrowing it and giving you an opportunity.
Yeah, we're trying to get rid of some of
do a
that
lot of
pavement,
planting.
a lot of the pavement. I appreciate that comment. Also, there was a comment yesterday about the patio in the back of the Ada's building. Currently, I've noticed many times, and when it was operating, that people go in, buy a sandwich, the kids come along, they sit on the sides of the porch. So that's nice. It's cute sitting on the front porch enjoying your Coca-Cola, but you could just as easily do it in the back lawn. And I thought that was a good proposal that the architect and owner had made.
Right.
So-
Let's talk about that real quick. I think actually what's wonderful about this site is that you have this expansive lawn. They do actually have, intermittent benches here and there. I think rather than if it's one patio area with multiple tables, could it be intermittent lawn furniture, for people to actually go out, sit on the site, sit in the site as opposed to a patio and enjoy
Right.
it that way.
I agree with that. And, you know, if they can sit in Starbucks, they can sit here in the sun. But I agree with that. There's many ways to treat that same thing. Allow people to go sit comfortably in the backyard and enjoy, you know, the spring and the summer. So those are things that can be refined. I do believe that if we do not find benefit to the town and to the owner in the historic overlay, then this is a good plan because it provides the function of the garage. It hides the function of the garage. It provides a more accommodating circulation pattern for the parking for both the residential and the retail. So from that standpoint, I thought it was a good design. The architect had a lot to do with this layout. We refined it to make it zoning compliant. And I think it will work for the two uses that will coincide on the property. So we will investigate the benefit to the town and the owner relative to the conditions of the bill and the historic overlay and see what refinements we can propose that'll benefit everyone.
Right. Now, the intention today for the second building is a complete renovation plus the addition?
Yes, sir. It's
Okay.
yes, there's work being proposed on both floors to improve the function and the aesthetics of the building overall. And I think both of those are a benefit to the neighborhood. If we have a two-family home, then let's make it the best we can and make it look good, landscape it, and provide circulation and function rather than all asphalt.
Right. One last thing I would say, I guess we're in a pre-app here. If you're looking at the at historic overlay with the design team and the property owner, I guess it's the new version that you should be looking at.
The new version
of the historic overlay regulation.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more extensive and stricter.
Okay, good point. I'll make sure. New version of HTC. Right. Okay. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you very much,
Patrick
folks.
has his hand up, so don't leave.
Oh,
Patrick.
Mr. DeAndrea, Tracy, if you could take that down. Yeah. I think we need to also talk about the setbacks that you've laid out here. I'm not quite sure that the zoning enforcement staff is going to agree with the sort of the choice.
one of my introductory remarks, which I didn't get to state, was that prior to the commencement of this, we all proposed different versions of what would work best. And then,
You did
having
say
done
that.
that, we went down to the CEO and had a long discussion about how best to do it. Mr. Lunny's impression in my conversations with him, not specifically on this one, was what is the least impact to everyone around? So in this case, we chose or offered, or we all agreed that the consensus was that Riverside Avenue is a front yard and Chapel Lane and Juniper Hill are both street side. And by doing that, there was only a 5-foot encroachment of that tail in the southeast corner that would encroach into the setback from Juniper Hill. And then, because of the sensitivity to the neighbor, we put the 15-foot side yard rather than 10 over on the west side. So we did the best for everyone. We gave the 15-foot required side yard minimum on the west side rather than 10 feet and provided street side setbacks on the other corners, other streets. That made the north side of the Ada's building compliant as to the setback to Chapel Lane, and it made only a very de minimis encroachment into Juniper Hill street side yard. There's no better way to create the front yard other than on Riverside Avenue. And that was the consensus after much discussion, and that's the way we put it. You see that on the zoning location survey that we presented. But we can have another discussion if you wish, but that's the way it was.
Well, the
discussed.
CEO, when you come back, the CEO is going to comment. So,
Yes, definitely. Well, we have his initial. I hope it doesn't erase.
Okay.
All right.
Before you go, does anybody from the public want to speak on this proposal at 114 Riverside Avenue, TMEC, Riverside Inc., 114 and 112 Riverside Avenue. This is the site with ADAs on it. Does anybody wish to comment on this proposal? Nope. Okay.
Thank you
Anybody
all
from
very
the
much.
public, raise your virtual hand. Last chance. I forgot to say that was for the public. No. So there are people here and I don't know what application, maybe because they didn't hear the postponements. Okay. Thank you, Mr. DeAndrea.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. Good night.
And
night.
now we go to Simmons Lane. How are we handling the discussion item for Simmons Lane? Is there someone speaking to us? Or are we just going to do it?
No, we're just gonna, staff's gonna take it up with you.
Okay, well, Mr. Hegney is here and raising his hand. Oh, he took it back down. Okay. All right. So
Well, I mean, the issue for the public, if you want me to speak, Madam Chair, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yes, you may speak.
Yeah, the issue is there's was lack of clarity on the motion for this application.
Well, not so much lack of clarity, but that we
Well-
carried forward all the.
On
Nick, are you
us,
laughing?
on staff's part, I'm sure the
No,
commission
I
was
mean,
clear.
it was just a standard thing that we often carry forward all the conditions and we said we're carrying forward all the conditions and nobody blinked. I believe even Mr. Hegney didn't blink.
Right.
We said we're carrying forward all the conditions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
I
that.
thought I was clear.
Yeah,
So for the issues at hand,
but then when he realized what we had said, yeah.
the prior
Okay.
conditions limited work on Saturdays, which is not in compliance. That's contrary to the town ordinances. So we are asking the
Well, but
commission,
in theory, because of the special permit, we would be able to do it.
right? But
But it's a special
mean,
permit,
well,
so we would have
I
been
think
able
it's
to.
contrary, even if we have the right to approve it. It's not the same as but okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so Mr. McRae, do you want to start with that and make that motion?
Yes, so moved that the decision letter for final site plan PLPZ 2025-18 Simmons Lane for final site plan special permit be revised under the motion to approve the site plan following conditions. All work will be within the town of Greenwich construction hours, except all Saturday work will be limited to interior work and finishing. Strike, except all Saturday work will be limited to interior work and finishing.
Okay. Do I have a
Second.
Mr. Lowe has seconded. Madam Kolakowski?
The only other addition I would suggest is to add the citation from the Greenwich Municipal Code, which is section 6B-6A, which actually sets forth the construction hours.
So be it.
Okay. The motion as amended is that the section from the municipal code will be added to the decision letter. And Mr. Lowe has seconded. Madam Jones, how do you vote?
Aye.
Madam Jenkins?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. And now, Mr. McRae, how would you like to proceed? We have Woodside.
Hold on a second. Let's
We
go
have
backwards. Let's start at
EG.
let's
You're gonna
start
start
with
at Round
five.
Hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
My notes are all over the place, so I'm not really well prepared, but we'll wing it.
Okay, so let me scroll to it so we can all help you.
I'm sorry, which one are we
Okay.
starting with?
528.
Okay.
This is 528 Round Hill Road, PLPZ 2025 418. Construction of a new single-family dwelling, garage, driveway, parking carts, pool cabana. Total building volume is over 150,000 cubic feet in the RA4 zone. Whereas Wetlands issued a permit dated 11/18/25, permit number 2025-113. Health Department issued comments dated 12/2/25, stating the applicant is approved with a septic plan revised to include pool house. It includes 6 bedrooms. The landscape plan. Conservation Commission issued comments dated 12/4/25, noting the property is partially in a public water drinking supply watershed, and had additional comments to the application. DPW Engineering issued comments 12/4/25, stating that the review of drainage revisions will be prior to the issuance of the zoning or building permit. The Energy Management Advisory Committee, EMAC, issued comments, revised comments actually, dated, check that date,
12/8.
12/5/25, indicating a favorable review.
12/6.
Favorable
12/6.
12/6.
Mhm.
Okay, I have it 12/5. 12/6 is fine.
Yeah,
The
12/5 is a Friday.
zoning enforcement officer indicated that in memo dated 12/4/25 that there are no issues. Zoning enforcement staff specifically stated that the FAR is close to the maximum and must be verified, and that any space labeled as closet storage in the pool house should be included in the floor area calculation. It is noted that the indoor athletic use as proposed is less than 1,200 square feet, specifically 1,150 square feet, thus not requiring a special permit from the commission. Therefore, a motion to approve the application with the following conditions. And I believe it was a landscape issue with conservation.
And P&Z staff. The final landscape plan will be reviewed by
And P&Z staff.
Conservation Commission.
Very
and
good.
P&Z staff.
Yeah.
Conservation and P&Z, as always. Okay.
And you put in your closet.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Okay.
Okay, and you put the agreement on the parking court as well as the landscaping.
No.
Okay,
We'll
so
add that in.
yes, the parking court,
The front parking court. Front
the
parking court.
size and material of the front parking court to be agreed by conservation staff, by conservation and P&Z staff.
Okay, got it. Okay, great. And applicant should address any and all other interdepartmental issues.
Okey-doke. Before we go on, we keep noticing there's several people in the audience, and if you're still listening, we're done for the night. We're just making decisions. We postponed a lot of applications, and you may have missed that announcement that the applicants postponed, but we are done with our hearing. So if you're here to listen to an application that hasn't been on yet, please feel free to go do something more fun than spend time with us.
Hey.
So again, we had 7 applications that were postponed or withdrawn tonight. So if you're here, okay, sorry.
They're dropping like flies.
They're dropping like flies. Yeah. Okay. We should have done that earlier. I'm sorry. Okay. So the next one I've got is 11.
Yeah, but did we vote on
We
that
have to
one?
vote on this
No, no.
one still.
Okay. We didn't vote on this.
And
Okay.
we need a
so-
second.
And we need a second. Okay. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to stop mid-task and go do something else. Okay. Do I have a second for Nick's motion?
Second.
All right. Mr. Lowe has seconded. Ms. Jones, how do you vote?
Aye.
And again, Jones is seated for Yeski. And Jenkins, how do you vote?
I'm.
And she is seated for Wells. Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
And Alvin is also aye. And with that, the motion passes 5-0. And we go to 131 Woodside.
Okay, I'll be right with you. There it is. Okay. This is 131 Woodside Drive, 121 and 125 Woodside Drive, PLPZ 2025-397. Applicant is requesting to demolish the house at 120 Woodside Drive and make 3,498 square foot improvement to the existing residence at 125 Woodside Drive, with a total volume of all structures would exceed 150,000 cubic feet in the R12 zone. The sewer division issued a memorandum dated 12/4/25 requesting acknowledgement of their P&Z comments by the applicant. Conservation issued a memo dated 12/3/25 with considerations to the plan concerning saving specific trees, the stag tree, and requesting additional native plantings. Wetlands issued a permit number 2025-081 with conditions. EMAC provided a memo dated 11/28/25 noting the application just strong energy efficiency awareness. DPW engineering issued comments on 12/4/25. Issued resubmittal prior to zoning permit. The ZEO issued comments on 12/4/25. Issued no issues to be addressed. Therefore, motion to approve the plan, noting the following. A letter of map merger should be filed with the town land records stating the merger of the two lots. A soil and erosion control plan shall be drafted and issued that conforms with the DEP. I believe it's March of 2023.
24.
24.
March 24.
Okay. And the sewer division, the applicant issued a sewer acknowledgement letter dated 12/8/25. And that's all I have.
You got the IWA permit, right?
Yeah, that's all in.
Okay. The only thing is the commission encourages the applicant to seek additional opportunities to replace the oak trees that were removed. That's all I got.
Oak trees to review that were removed.
Yeah, I mean,
Got it.
It's a heavily treated site, but you know, okay, do I have a second?
Second.
I think Mary beat it.
Yeah.
Madam Jenkins has seconded. Madam Jenkins, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
And Macri?
Aye.
Albin is also aye. And with that, the motion goes 5-0, and we go to Taco Project at 91 Railroad. Really, the only things we said on this is if you want the conditions were that they give us the site plan, that they give us the section of the lease that does the parking space, because anything else you leave out doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
The
Site plan, parking layout.
The parking space that they were provided, the site plan showing the where the garbage
Parking
is.
spaces and garbage.
And I think that's all I've got in my notes. And
They've
so
got to
the
go to ARC for any sign
ARC
or
for
storefront.
signage and awning, yeah, signage, etc.
Madam Chair, sorry.
Yes.
How do you want that extra space to be memorialized? Is it a
What he's going to do is send us the excerpt from the lease, and he can have it notarized.
Oh, you're not talking about the location of it?
Oh, the location as well, but he's going to send the lease excerpt to us, and then he's going to send us a site plan, right, with the space, right? Because then we'll have the site plan.
That's what you do want a plan that indicates it somewhere. Okay, that
I
wasn't
mean,
clear.
I figured that isn't a lot of incremental because they're going to have to give stuff to ARC.
Yeah, there's going to have to be elevations and other architectural plans.
I wondered about exactly the same thing. How do we kind of verify and memorialize, as you say, that extra space? Verify it.
Yeah, I think
the lease.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it would seem to me kind of two ways. One, we'd have the lease, but I think actually if it's a dedicated space, particularly for this tenant space, maybe there's signage or something just to make sure actually, yeah, this is the space for these guys. Stay out.
Yeah.
It'd be as simple as that. And I would say a photograph of the space with the sign on it would be good enough for me.
Yeah, anything straightforward. Photograph is good. Then they don't have to do the whole site plan, and we know where it is. I mean,
yep.
Okay, so if you leave out some of the boilerplate, I mean, the building's existing, so I'm on the wrong application. All right. So you hereby move approval? No, as to the application. Go ahead.
You're moving approval?
No, I'm joking around.
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I think that's it. I think we've got everything that we talked about or needed for this.
Okay, so I hereby move approval of the application 91 Railroad Avenue to convert to for a change of use from retail to a 20-seat restaurant, which will have a liquor license, and whose parking will go as a result from a requirement of 7 spaces to 8 spaces, and for which the applicant has secured an additional 1 space of parking, thus not adding to their existing parking nonconformity. The Department of Health, whereas the commission notes the Department of Health has noted no concerns regarding this application on 11/19/25. The Sewer Division has asked for a signed letter of acknowledgement of their comments on 12/3/25, which the applicant has submitted on 12/4/25. The ZEO issued comments on 12/4/25, explaining the change of use scope on the application. IWWA issued a green sheet, and the commission notes that this change of use is consistent with section 6103.1 of the building zone regulations for ground floor uses in the CGBR, which allow both within use group 1, both retail stores and restaurants. Therefore, this application is hereby approved with the following conditions. The applicant to provide a site plan demonstrating the location of the garbage enclosure facility, and if possible, the parking location. The applicant is to submit the excerpt of the lease and duration thereof, providing the additional parking space, which eliminates any increase in nonconformity. And the applicant shall go to ARC for review of any awning, lighting,
storefront alterations, signage, and lighting.
Perfect. And the applicant shall address any and all other outstanding
interdepartmental issues.
Interdepartmental comments. Boom, you have a full motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McRae has seconded. What a treat. How do you vote, sir?
Aye.
Madam Jenkins?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Ms. Jones?
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. One more. I hereby move approval of the November 12 minutes, at which Mr. Yeski and Mr. Lowe were absent part of the time, but present part of the time, but doesn't really matter. Do I have a second?
I'll second it or third it or whatever it is.
Okay, Mr. Lowe has seconded. Ms. Jones, how do you vote?
Aye.
Ms. Jenkins?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Albin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0, and we're done.